Let's see here. Post up on my Discord. Let us know that.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you to the 28 people who said there was no sound. We figured it out.
Hooray!
But the dog, who you may have seen dive bombing Jake over here, must have hit the cable because it was just unplugged. So there you go. Yeah, so anyway, as I was saying before you could hear me, oh, no sound? I think that might be a little bit of a delay. Jake drove all the way here just for this live stream. No other reason.
No ulterior motives whatsoever.
0%. All the way from Texas to here, to Oregon.
So I've done 34-ish hundred miles. Went from Texas, Austin, Texas, which if anybody's driven from Central Texas to anywhere, you know that the hardest part about living in Texas is getting out. It takes like 6-7 hours for me to get anywhere that isn't Texas. So we drove up north to Denver, spent the night with Josh, went up to Sturgis for a couple of days because I had to go out of the way to come over here. And then we drove straight across, and by we, I mean the royal we, me and my camera gear. Camera gear over here. Drove up into Utah last night, slept on the side of the road, and then made it here after doing 12 hours, I think, straight in my van.
Just in time, because he literally rolled into the driveway 8 minutes ago.
Yeah, we were talking about when I was going to get here, because you've got to head out for your event that you've got going on in, like, tomorrow, right?
Well, Thursday morning.
Thursday morning you're leaving. Yeah. And we were like, well, maybe we can shoot something. Then I was running late, and then this morning when I was driving, you're like, hey, let's do a live stream. I was like, sure, let's do it.
It's the easiest way to collaborate. No editing required.
Yeah, no, we just get to sit here and bullshit for a few. Can I swear? Is that a thing?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I don't usually monetize the streams because things happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just want to make sure I'm not breaking the rules already.
No. There's no rules in the Dork basement, which you haven't even really gotten a chance to look at because you literally just walked in, sat down, go.
I just walked in.
Yeah. So do you want to tell them why you're actually here?
Yes. So, man, it's like 2 months ago at this point. You posted up on YouTube. You were like, hey, anybody want a Hawk 250? And I was like, sure. Yeah, why not? I think I'd just gotten back from the last Get On Moto in Mojave. And that was the first time we actually met in person. And you post that up there. I text you, and I'm like, I'll buy it. Because I've been trying to get my hands on like a little dual sport, just something to fart around with on the channel, because I've got a KLR 650 for those of y'all who don't know.
It's on the back of the van in my driveway.
Yeah, I drove with it on the back of a $250 Harbor Freight thing. So if anybody's worried about hauling motorcycles on the Harbor Freight gear, it works, man.
But it's not the aluminum one. It's the Hallmaster, the black steel one, right?
Yeah.
Because I had that aluminum one and it was garbage.
The steel Hallmaster, yeah, it was $250 at my local Harbor Freight, which, I mean, that's a pretty damn good deal right there. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I was like, sure, I'll buy it. Had no idea when I was going to get up here. It's kind of just been sitting around. You're like, yeah, it's just going to sit outside.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's fine.
He paid me because it's my brother's. I sold it for my brother, so he paid me a while ago, and so it's been paid for just sitting in front of my house.
Yep,
under a tarp.
Yeah, so I finally made it up here to pick up this bike, and my plan with it is to just absolutely beat the crap out of it. I'm just going to take it back to Texas and do horrible, terrible, mean things to it. And then when it falls apart, oh well.
some of you will remember this bike from the Chad on the Rocks incident where my brother, his very first time riding in the woods with me, about 20 minutes into our first day, whiskey throttled it into a rock about 2.5 feet high and went over the handlebars. So I will make sure and get you that footage so you can put it in the video when you talk about buying and fixing this thing, because it took a pretty good shot. I happen to have a new dash for it, which I'm going to give you, and then he thinks it's... My brother thought that the fork was bent. I'm not sure it is. I think maybe just the forks are twisted and they just need to be fixed.
Yeah, I was just going to do a whole giant service party on it and
It will need fluid.
Tear it down and put it back together and all that fun stuff. So, Delta Bravo asking, did I drive back to Texas after Get On? No. I went straight to Denver because I was actually filming. My buddy Josh has a GSX-8S, which is the worst name for any motorcycle ever. It sounds like what Elon would name his motorcycle.
Or his kid.
Yeah, or his kid. And I wanted to film with that, so we spent all day yesterday. Go down. We spent all day yesterday filming with the GSX-8S, and then last night I got in the van and just started driving. So, it's been an interesting experience. It was my first real test run with the van since I bought it.
Product placement. First time I've used this. I'm just excited about it.
That's a nice tall boy cup right there.
Well, I think it's actually for he sent it to me and I was like, I can't get my beer cans in it. And he was like, oh yeah, no, that's for seltzers. And at the time I was like, damn it. But he was thinking ahead because now that I'm back on the keto, these Michelob Ultralights and the seltzers I bought fit perfect.
You having fun over here? The dog is getting rowdy again.
Yeah, sorry. My last live stream was her first, and she spent 10 minutes doing laps, running across the back of the couch, and then she'll just pass out eventually. She just chills, but not if you engage with her. So good luck with that.
Good to know.
Yeah. So yeah. So I did invite him to the camp out this weekend, but he's got to get home, so he's not going to come ride with us. Sucks because it's a great way where we're going to see my favorite part of the state.
Yeah, I know. I was driving, so I did 20 up through Bend from the desert, and I was driving through that forest, and it was just unbelievable. It's that I have to come back, just because some of the most beautiful country out here, and now I have the KLR on the back, which makes it all the harder to get on the road tomorrow morning and drive back, but gotta make a living somehow.
Gotta work, I guess.
Yup. So gotta get back. Got some obligations down in Texas. Got a little Hawk 250 I need to fix. But it's another reason to get back on the road and come out here because it's unbelievable. I was driving down 20 coming down, there's that section of road where it's 11 minutes or 11 miles of just downhill. And I'm just coasting in the van being like, God damn, this forest is pretty damn old.
Yeah, we got some good shit up here. Is there a point to this live stream? Is there ever? What kind of a question is that?
Just hanging out, having a good time.
This must be your first time around here. Welcome. I have a Yamaha Nikon. Will it do good off-road? I don't know, but if you take it, make sure you film it. I want to see that.
I reckon it'd probably do okay on a gravel road because you got the 3 points of contact.
Oh, I would.
You've got that.
Yeah, I would do some dumb shit on that. It's pretty tall, too, so, I imagine that you have some suspension travel.
Yeah, the weird thing about that front end is it's got 2 16s.
Yeah, that's not good.
So, it'll probably just slide around really good.
Stop it. Spider's not a chew toy.
I'll just sit here and hold your jaw. Is that going to annoy you into leaving?
Maybe. Oh, you're not talking to me? Oh, that's later. Okay.
I know I look cuddly, but I'm not. My beard is a little bit rough and tumble right now. I need a shower.
Hey, how much gas did my 450 burn on Oregon BDR Section 1 to Plush? Well, we took a we had a 2-gallon armadillo bag, so we refilled when Trav was dying in the shade. So I ended up with about 40 miles of range when we got to Plush, and there was no gas there. So I don't know, math.
I mean, how in terms of actual mileage, how much gas do you actually carry? Because I'm on the KLR. I've got a giant gas tank, and I never worry about mileage because that thing just sips gas.
Right.
So how much do you normally pack for a big ride?
Well, so I've got the 3-gallon tank on there, which is it's usually good enough for just about anything because the gas stops there's always somewhere you can stop every 100 miles or so.
Mm-hmm.
But out there, that's not the case because it's 150 miles the first section, and there's there's a 120 mile section and a couple 100-mile sections, so it's pushing it. So we just had Tim and I, between the two of us, 1 2-gallon armadillo bag that we would basically, when we got to the point where we could both put it in, we would just dump it in so that we could get the weight off his bike. Hey, you're a dick. That is dumb.
Put you in a headlock. Come on.
Ride my Dyna off-road, does that make it an adventure bike? Hey, the best adventure bike is the one that you have to go take adventures on.
Anything's an adventure bike if you try hard enough.
That's right.
I took a 1987 Goldwing off-road for about 5 minutes, so that was an adventure bike.
Yeah, well, he showed up at Mojave on a freaking street glide, so...
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Anything, I mean, out
that
there...
was a road glide.
Oh, it's my bad, sorry. Not street road, those are very different things.
Oh, yeah, they're entirely different. One has a fixed fairing and one doesn't.
Well, I meant the street and the road, but... Yeah. We call those synonyms.
I still am really disappointed at the last get on with that road glide. I should have been doing a lot better in the slow race, but I completely biffed it in the first second, which was really big bummer for me.
I was filming that.
Yeah. I made myself look like a total bonehead.
Well,
it's what I do.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, I'm a pro at that.
It's what we do.
I've got bacon bits in my beard, and the dog knows it. Yeah, at this point, you know what? I just might.
It's every meal he's eaten for the last 3 days on the road. It's all still in there.
You're having a ton of fun here, aren't you?
Oh my
God.
God.
I know.
You're embarrassing me, Doug.
I know. It's so much fun.
Well, I'm full time now. I haven't taught for a couple years. And yes, I remember you, former student.
You were so wound up. That's the puppy life, huh?
Yeah, it's funny. I told my dad I was getting a puppy, and he said, "Well, everyone needs to do that once in their life." And I thought, I've had so many kittens, I can handle it. No.
If $1 Million Bogan can do it, you can. Yep. I actually rode that bike when it came through Austin with Shade Tree. Boy, oh boy, was that thing a giant piece.
Damn, CD, and that's a long drive. You're probably not going to be worth it, to be honest. I'm not that cool, but I'm glad you're coming. Dog, I'm going to fucking suplex you.
I need a Sportster to create something with. I would love to get another Sportster. So I did a 1275 build on a Sportster in the past. And it looks a lot more complicated than it actually is. It's pretty simple, all things considered.
Stop. You're done. You're being a butthole. Go away.
But yeah, the Sportsters are so much fun to build with because they're so simple. There's really nothing to a Sportster, which is one of the fun things about them. But you really have to be about that life if you're going to do any kind of off-road Sportster stuff. I've watched what Shade Tree's done with his Dirtster, and good grief, the amount of just effort you have to put into the build and actually getting it to a place where you can stand up.
They're my problem.
They're tough, but once you get them running, it's kind of all you have to do is just change the oil, because the valves adjust themselves and all that stuff. Do you ever think that we'll ever see a 975 Pan Am?
Yes. I do think
so.
I think there will be something less expensive. Plus, where's the sweet spot right now? It isn't 1,200.
Right.
It's 700-800. Everyone's coming out with them. And Harley is Harley, so they're about 2 years behind, but they'll get there.
So they did have it in the lineup, but it was pruned for 22, I believe, or for the 23 model year lineup. And I've got a couple of theories about why they got rid of it. One is they just weren't going to make weight, because I think they were planning on using more or less the same frame. And I've never been able to get anyone at Harley-Davidson to confirm whether the bottom end of the 975 weighs the same as the bottom end of the 1250. So if the bottom end is the exact same, it's going to be a really heavy motor.
Mm-hmm.
And that means it's going to end up being like a DE 800. Really heavy, kind of more sport touring oriented, which is fine. It's totally cool, but I think a lot of people really want a properly aggressive.
Throw it over the back of the couch.
They
Now
want
you
more,
have to do that for the next half hour.
but yeah, they want a properly aggressive adventure bike from Harley, because the Pan Am's cool, but you can't really take it on a tough trail.
Right, unless you're Justin Kleider.
But that's like, it's like getting an R1. 1% of riders can really do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Where did you land on the Pan Am? What are your thoughts on that? Because Pan Am for me, that's probably my favorite motorcycle out there because of what it represents for Harley. I'm a huge Harley simp.
I saw that video.
But where do you land on it as somebody who spends a lot more time in the dirt than I?
Well, okay, so there's a lot of background necessary here. One, I've only ridden it a couple times and I've been fortunate to be in some decent groups and be able to go at least really ride it. I don't know if I'm supposed to say anything. Let's just say I may have more seat time on one sometime soon.
Cryptic.
And my plan, if I am to get my hands on one, is to kind of really try some of this longer range touring stuff that I haven't really done. Because it feels like the GS to me, it's the same slot. It's about like, I'm going to ride all the way to Massachusetts and then ride off-road there when I get there or whatever. I'm going to go to South Carolina and do the SCAR, but I want to ride my bike out there. That's kind of the niche I feel like they best fit. So I want to. Yeah, I'm not a huge bike. I'm not a fan of huge bikes. I am a huge bike fan.
Aren't we all?
In every sense of the word. But so I don't know. I feel like it's like I just rode that GS and was like, this is interesting. It's not what I expected, and more possibilities started to kind of open up in my mind. And I think that's kind of where I'm at with the Pan Am.
The Pan Am's a really interesting motorcycle because when you start to push it, it actually, the dirt technology in it, the off-road rider modes, for me they work great, which is pretty impressive, especially for their first at bat.
Yeah, right, and it's not like they have some other division they can steal tech from or whatever. Like they're just making everything from scratch. Yeah, I had fun on it. I really like watching Justin and Jim with the stuff that they can do on those things, and the fact that they're so like dedicated to it that they'll like Justin enters everything. Like he was on the dual sport Funduro course at Touratech last year, just like going over like tabletops that he was scraping the skid plate across because he didn't have enough clearance, and he didn't give a shit. He's just like, it's a bulldozer now, man. Just watching him do that stuff is like, that impresses me every time.
A lot of people seem to be complaining about reliability, but I've never really had any issues on any of the Pan Ams I've been on. I've been on one for a couple thousand miles.
Well, I've done a couple training expeditions, and we only had one bike that had to get towed out. Guess what it was?
Good to know.
But it was an electrical thing. We couldn't, because we couldn't even get it. And we had it. This is one thing I never made it into a video, but we had it on the center stand with a 300L on a rock with the back tire up against it.
So you were bump starting.
We were trying, but it wouldn't even work because it was the rectifier or something was screwed up, and so it just wasn't getting. It wouldn't run at all, even with like a battery, a booster pack. We eventually got one and stuff, so something was seriously wrong. But yeah, That was the only. We did have a GS not make it, but that's because the guy broke his leg and
Oof.
somebody had to ride it out for him.
Yikes.
Obviously, they carried him to it. We carried him to a pickup truck, and he got a ride out to the hospital.
Ouch.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about not Harleys.
Not Harleys. I did see somebody bring up the Ibex 800, which I actually just got done riding in the Black Hills. How you doing over there?
Just do to yourself, dummy. Dumb dog.
You spend any time on the Ibex?
I sat on one at Touratech.
Just sat on one.
I never got back around to ride it. It had street tires on it anyway, but I've ridden an 890 and a 790, so I kind of feel like it's like that, but not as good.
So, I took the Ibex out, and I've got a whole video coming out on this, but some spoilers. I took it out in Sturgis, and the folks from CF Moto were really nice. They were like, hey, go have some fun with it. Go ride it through the hills. Just treat it like it's your bike.
Oh, that's famous last words.
And I was like, okay.
Are you sure about that? Can you write that down?
So, yeah, I took the bike out, and I was having some fun going down some gravel roads because it feels a lot more GS like to me. And then I was like, this is getting boring. Let's go take it on part of the hard loop. That was a horrible mistake.
Oops.
That was a horrible mistake. But it was fun. It's a very cool bike, and it's really cheap. I think that's the beauty of it. It's just they're getting in, undercutting the competition, and they've got a really good base from which to build.
Well, I'd love to get my hands on one and just push it because, I mean, if it's essentially a KTM 790, then it should be able to do most of the same stuff, right?
It's a little heavier, so it's 540 pounds.
Oh, jeez. That's a lot of bike.
It's 540 pounds, which puts it in Pan America country.
That's a heavy. I didn't realize it was that heavy.
Yeah, it's 540 ish. Don't quote me on that. Check Google first. With 90 something horsepower and 60-ish foot-pounds of torque, I think. So it's a little hard to move around, especially if you get like stuck up an incline.
Like my African twin.
You're screwed. That's the only time I dropped the bike was like stalled on a incline.
Kevin, you're in Arizona. I read that we broke a record in Arizona for most days in a row over 110 degrees. Sucks. And I'm bitching about 94 in the desert here. But one of my friends did almost die. So,
I mean, it is hot. Once you get over like 95, there's no winning.
No, the wind doesn't cool you anymore.
No,
It's like a hairdryer.
especially if you're going super slow. You're not gonna cool off, and that's kind of how it is in Texas. Once it gets to about 100 degrees, you're screwed. You just cannot cool off.
Yeah. That's when I want to get in the car because it has air conditioning. Sorry, I'm not that punk.
I feel you. I've definitely been. I'm at the point now, since I've got the van running and it's working good and I can sleep in it and stuff. I'm at a point where I'm like, this is how I'm gonna tour now. I'm not gonna do any more big like rides across the country unless I've kind of got a reason to do it. Because I rode my Hyperstrada from Texas to Tampa. That was an interesting experience. I rode my KLR from Texas to Georgia. That was a terrible experience. So I'm just at the point where I've got the van going. I can put a bike on the back. I can put a bike inside, and I can sleep in there. So down she goes.
Finally tuck her out.
A little bit.
What's up, Tyler? You bastard.
There he is.
We were just shit talking you for 20 straight minutes. Where you been? Talking about how everything you taught us was wrong and we have lawsuits pending. What's up, James? I have tried the TT85. I have a video of the Goozy.
What'd you think?
I thought, why would anyone buy this?
Really?
Not because it's one of those bikes where it's like, if you really like it, like it's cool looking, it's a unique kind of setup,
Mm-hmm.
that's a bike you're going to buy. But
Right.
if individually, like there are better adventure bikes, there are better shaft-driven bikes.
Yep.
And so I was just like, for Goozy fans, this is. But I also rode it right after the Touareg.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, wow, this is like a big wheel after riding a freaking like a R6 or something. It just wasn't. It wasn't a good back-to-back. I should have done it the other way around. But yeah.
I also think that motor's a little plain in there. It's not a particularly exciting motor. I'm really interested to see what happens when they get the Stelvio going with the V100 Mandela motor.
Mm-hmm.
See if they actually get, something a little bit more off-road oriented. But it kind of looks like they're just putting a 19-inch front end on the Mandela, which would be a bit of a bummer.
What can you do?
Complain on it, complain about it in a video on YouTube.
That's true. You have more power than many to at least make them feel bad. It's bad, and you should feel bad.
I don't try to make anybody feel bad unless they're Harley Davidson and they don't do anything new forever.
What telling the truth is not purposefully making people feel bad.
That's true.
It just sometimes it happens.
You just gotta get people to think differently a little bit.
Oh, good one. That used to be Apple's logo. Actually, it was Think Different, which is dumb. Anyway.
They thought different about it.
Right, yeah, and they stopped doing that.
There you go.
Hey, Meerkat, yeah, I didn't have as much fun as you did because I didn't do it by myself, you crazy bastard. Yeah, do you guys have any order questions? I guess this is the first time I've been on since we finished it. Are you watching the videos? I got 2 out, another one coming out tomorrow. Was Spide in a band?
No.
Are you now?
No.
Do you want to start one?
Maybe.
Okay.
I actually do have a guitar in the van.
Oh, dude, shouldn't have said that. After party! We're gonna have a jam sesh. I don't play anything anymore, but I'll clap my hands and play tambourine.
Yeah, that's the only way I can really just kind of unload at the end of the day is just sit in the back of the guitar or sit in the back of the van with a guitar and make some really angry noises.
It's like he's trying to lure in anyone. Okay, I'm not gonna make that joke. It's a big white windowless van. Draw your own conclusions.
I think maybe I put it in the thumbnail. I can't remember when I did the van reveal. If I scrawled free candy across the side in the thumbnail. I certainly had it in the middle of the video somewhere.
That's the first thing he said when he pulled up. Not,
Yep.
hey. It was, hey, you want some candy? I was like, yeah, I want some candy. And then, well, that's why we were late.
The floor is rusted through up front.
Oh.
So you get some lovely smells in there when you're driving.
So you can Flintstones bricks.
Pretty much,
Yeah, okay.
It's the floor's rotted through. I fixed most of the exhaust leaks, most of them. And now
you just get a little high when you're driving.
You just get a little. You feel
high.
a little bit funny, so you roll the windows down, and then you just see what ends up happening. Sometimes you get a little hallucination going. Sometimes you're feeling normal. Sometimes you're feeling good about life.
Can I interest you in a Ronier, or what you do with that?
I've got it on the floor here.
Well, I could get you a cold one.
That's still cold.
Aye, well, nothing better than a warm Ronier. You're in the land of, microbrew heaven, so I got you the shittiest thing that we have. Honestly, I didn't know I could have got you a super IPA or something, but
I'm a cheap date, man. When it comes to beer, I'm the kind of guy who will unironically drink a Coors Light or a Bud Light.
Well, that's why I got you the Ronier. Because, we've done enough Coors Lights.
That reminds me of getting drunk in the back of the van.
By yourself?
Yep.
Okay. Been there. What recommendations does Dork have for taking my KLR 650 to a local MX track? Well, my first recommendation would be don't. Second one is you're going to want either to go very slow or get a new suspension, man. That's a heavy bike that's super undersprung. Have you taken yours to the MX track?
No, but I would just say send it, dude.
Just send it.
Just send it. And when it starts making a bunch of noise, don't worry about it.
Oh, a new advice. Film it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Film that. That's a 1 million view video right there.
Mm-hmm. Well, shit, maybe I need to get back to Boston and take mine to the MX track.
There's one 20 miles away. Pretty famous one in Albany. So there you go. Yeah, because I remember when it Adventure Daily, back when he was attention deficit, did that with his 250L, and that video did pretty well for him. So
I'm gonna be getting a what's it called? It's the Solar Eclipse. It's an electric 72 volt dirt bike thingamajig that they're gonna send out sooner or eventually, I think.
I was hoping you were going to say solar powered. That's what I want to see.
I mean, I could set up solar in the van and then charge it that way.
Well, then it would technically be
Be
solar powered.
yeah.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to taking that off road. I'm gonna definitely compare it to the 250. See how that goes. Because one of the things I really want to do is just take it to these single track trails that are about 10 miles from my house, because that's about the only real off-road we can do in Central Texas, which sucks.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I'm surrounded by amazing shit.
I mean, it's wild to come out here and just be like, oh, this is the perfect road to just do twisty road stuff. This is the perfect road to go do wide, flowy, big adventure bike
I'm sad
stuff.
you're not going to be here for another day. I mean, even the camp out, we're going to ride some great stuff. We're going to do the BDR north and south from there. So we're going to hit up all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah, I'm super bummed, but it just gives me an opportunity to come back out.
And a reason.
Yep.
Well, let's plan a longer trip. We should do NorCal next year. That's sort of halfway.
Yeah.
It'll be the newest one, so it's definitely going to do it.
Yeah, and I'll pack for a longer ride. The biggest thing right now for me is just trying to get videos edited and uploaded right now, which is...
Okay, don't forget to get on the Wi-Fi later.
Yep, because I've been struggling. I complained to the Discord last night about how I was trying to get a video to export, and it was taking 18 hours. Usually my stuff takes like 30 minutes. I have no clue. Big giant pain in the ass, but oh well.
Yeah, it's not good. No good.
Live and learn.
What is a BDR? Backcountry Discovery Route. Go to ridebdr.com. There are none in the deep south. They're mostly West Coast. Colorado, Utah, Nevada, Oregon, California, Washington, Idaho. But there is a mid-Atlantic BDR and what's the other? New England?
It's usually places where there's lots of public land.
Yeah. They're all, because it's all public roads. That way it can't get closed.
Mm-hmm.
And having mountains and stuff helps.
I have small, teensy tiny little hills. If you want to go to, ride anything that is more than like 300 foot of incline, you got to go out to, Big Bend, which is like 10 hours from Austin.
Yeah, if I want to go 300 feet of incline from here, I just go out the back door. And literally, the top of the hill out here is... We're at 800 feet right here as it is. And I've got another, I think 12 or 10 or 1100 at the top of the hill on the flat spot on my property.
God, that's beautiful.
It's not terrible. Unless you hate blackberries, which I do, because they're everywhere. But, yeah.
Like a weed out here, basically?
Oh, it is. And oh, God. They're so, there's nothing that competes with them. You can shade them out, maybe. But even then, they find a way, because they're so hardy. They're dumb.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. What did you think of riding in the Black Hills?
Love it. So if you're interested in riding out there, do not go during Sturgis. Don't go. It's a terrible experience. You're not going to have fun. The folks on big Harleys terrify me. I rode out there during the rally once. But everywhere else and the entire, getting off-road, beautiful, well-manicured trails. You got some really hard stuff if you want it. You've got nice, easy flowing stuff if you want it. And then the pavement, Vanocker Canyon, is one of the most beautiful stretches of road you can run. I did it like 4 or 5 times while I was out there. Awesome.
And the second half of your question, yes, I'm jealous. I want to go. I'm planning on going next year. They just keep doing it during my anniversary. And I was in Alaska, so not a terrible place to be to miss it.
Yeah, no kidding.
I definitely saw a bunch of pictures and had some FOMO, Try not to think about it too much.
Yeah, you should definitely come out if you can.
Well, and everybody was there was like four like motovlog people that I know, right, at Mojave, and everyone went to Sturgis.
There was a ton at Sturgis.
Like,
so
you bastards.
Yeah, we had Jake the Garden Snake. There was Chase. There was Ian from Big Rock Moto. There was Jess, her two wheels. Me, but I don't really count. There's just so many different people.
You're
out
bigger
there
than
that
like
were...
3 people you just named, but I think you count as much as they do.
I
You
mean,
count more than I do because you went.
Yeah, yeah. It was a ton of fun though, and my favorite thing about going to these events is meeting people and hanging out.
Mhm.
So getting drunk with a whole bunch of other folks out there.
Yeah, weird. Turns out motorcyclists like to drink and stuff.
Yeah, and at the Buffalo Chip, they've got the big it's literally called the Big Engine Bar, I think, or the Big Twin Bar, I don't remember. And then there's the one in the middle of the rally spot that just serves beer a lot like your Rainier here.
Delicious Ranier.
Mm-hmm.
Vitamin R.
Yeah, ton of fun. And the cool thing is they have showers that are actually really nice.
Yeah,
So
that's good.
you don't end up stinking up the entire van at night.
Musk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll happen. That will happen. Well, next year I'm hopeful. We'll see. I'm gonna try to plan around it. I'm also just gone so much in the summer. And it's a week-long trip because it's 2 days to get out there, and then you're there for 3 or 4, and at least 2 days to get back. So, yeah, just like Mojave, it's about the same distance for me.
Yeah, next year I'm gonna be doing I'm gonna be coming out for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, leaving Monday. I'm already getting my plans set for that one because I prefer the Black Hills Rally to the one in Mojave because Mojave is a lot of sand for like it's difficult sand for long stretches. The hard stuff in Black Hills is a lot of rock. There's a couple of sand washes, but not much.
Yeah, there's a lot of sand. Ask Travis about it. Travis, did you ever see any sand in like really close, like inspect it with your face at all?
I definitely saw that clip.
He was the most popular guy everybody was like, "Are you the guy that crashed?" Oh, hey, Dork in the road. It was awesome. Yes, that was me. Are you okay?
I mean, he basically flattened the whole front side of that Africa Twin on that jump.
Easily the best crash at that event this year that I saw.
I think literally everybody was talking about it. You
Yeah.
couldn't go more than a few minutes without somebody being like, "Yeah, did you hear about that guy on the Africa Twin?" I was riding this Harley doing some fun stuff. Oh yeah, that's great. Did you hear about the Africa Twin though?
Yeah, thank God Kyle was already filming, so we got multiple angles of that. That was good. That was lucky, fortunate. I think Trev saw the camera and was like, "Well, I got to do something."
That's talk about your true 15 seconds fame moment right there.
Yeah. Did we ever get to Orbiter questions? I think we got sidetracked.
I mean, isn't that the nature of conversation?
It yes. Yeah, and sadly or awesomely, I don't even know. Does anyone have Orbiter questions? It was fun. Obviously, we lost Travis. And then Tim was screwing around and crashed on day 2, but no big deal. I can report that there were no major incidents after that. So, little spoiler alert for the future videos as much as... Well, actually, literally the title for day 3 is a quote from the video where I'm like, "I'm actually having fun." Because it was the first day I was like, "I'm not stressed. I'm having a good time. Nothing's exploding. This is familiar territory. I'm having a great time." So it was a little nice change. Less anxiety on day 3. And then at the end, Grace came out and brought us some beers and steaks. So not a bad way to moto camp.
That sounds lovely.
It was good times.
People complaining about sand. I used to think sand sucked, and then Tyler smacked me upside the head, cracked an egg of knowledge on my noodle, and we figured out how sand works, and now it's actually not that bad.
See, Tyler helped me too, but it was more of I didn't know if I could swim, and he kicked me off the dock.
I think maybe he decided to take the easier route with me.
Well, I just because I didn't learn the first time and had to do it in Mexico. Favorite Orbiter section was the riding section 3. Scenery is section 4. How would I compare Wobder to Orbiter? Wobder is easy except for a couple of difficult parts. The Orbiter is hard, is kind of hard the whole way, with a few slightly more difficult sections. But it's definitely a route that if you're... I worry a lot, honestly, and I've said this in the videos, and I'm going to just say it as many times as I can, that, and not to be stereotypical, this is just what happens and what I've seen in my experience. Some dude is going to decide, middle-aged guy about my age, is going to decide, I want to get into adventure riding. He's going to buy a 1250 GS because that's the adventure bike. That's what Ewan rode, right? And then he's going to be like, well, what do you do with an adventure bike? You go on the BDR, right? And he's going to go and fucking die because it's hard. Like, it is not a beginner route. It is definitely... I told Tyler as we were kind of talking about them planning their tour, I feel like it's an intermediate route on a dual sport and probably intermediate advanced. No, that's not true. Intermediate advanced on a dual sport and advanced, maybe even expert in some places on an adventure bike.
Damn.
Just because it's not like if all the things you were going over, like a little sand, there's a rut here, there's a rock, whatever, these things, if it was just one at a time, you could do it. But it's like literally like, okay, deep sand, up into a whoop, down into a rocky shelf that I'm going down. I gotta cross a rut. I gotta go through a bunch of chunky, oh, look, a bunch of baby heads. Now this deep gravel. And it's just like bam, 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 bam. And you just gotta go, man. So it can be a little much in places. But I was having a good time. I will say this, 2023 Dork had a great time. 2022 Dork would have hated it.
It's weird to hear because everybody's got such a different scale for what they consider hard off-road. So I'm hearing some of that and I'm like, you know what, that could be interesting. And then you get out there and you're like, oh, he's underselling it, or oh shit, he's just overselling it.
Right.
You never really know until you get out there.
Well, and it's funny because as we were riding it, I was reading like in the group because a bunch of people rode it the same week as us because 4th of July weekend, it was a long weekend. It was the first time it was really all open, and people were like, oh my god, section 2 is so hard, or oh, I couldn't believe all the rocks in section 3. I heard that one a lot, and I got out there and I kept looking for them.
Yeah,
and I just did not see the section. But it's because to some people that embedded chunky rock stuff is super sketch, right? And I'm just like, well, I'm just gonna go over it and try to avoid the sharp stuff because. But I also don't air down my tires or anything like that, so I don't worry as much about like pinch flats. And so it just depends, right? That stuff doesn't bother me, but like sand up until recently really did. So yeah, like you're saying, it's all subjective.
You know, I've never actually had any kind of flat on a bike out on a trail. I've never had any issues out on the trail, so I'm one of those.
Should not have said that out loud.
I'm one of those kind of morons who goes out with just the basic toolkit in the back of the KLR. I'm like, whatever, I'll be fine.
As long as you don't have a flat. Yeah. Well, I always say as long as I have my end reach, worst case, somebody can come get me.
Yep. I mean, that's just another issue with Texas is there's not enough places for me to encounter those problems and learn those skills. So that's a part of that's not in my toolkit. So.
Well, you'll get there.
Yeah.
One way or the other. Tyler, was July the wrong month for Orbiter 1 through 3? Would fall be better? Well, here's the thing. With fall, is that you're dealing with fires, so you're going to have to reroute a lot. We didn't have to reroute at all, except for Three Creeks Road being closed and then having to go to find gas the second day. We didn't do all of Section 2. So, I don't know. Nathan, the co-architect of the route, says that he thinks that September is the best time to do it. So, I would go with what he says because he spent more time on this route than anybody. More time on this route than anybody. I think if I do it again, I will go down and do the BDRX and then and skip sections 1 and 2 and just get on a Christmas Valley and go. Because the BDRX takes you to the Albert, it takes you up on the Steens, and I just think that's more fun than trying not to die in the desert for 150 miles. Although I do want to get down there and do Beatty's Butte because we skipped it.
Tyler's saying I should move out here. Dude, after driving through, because I literally drove through Bend this afternoon to get here. There must be a fire out there because there's a ton of, it was really thick smoke out there. But once I got into the hills, I was like, no, god damn it, why did I buy a house in Texas?
I mean, we have houses here.
Yeah.
There's one right down the street for sale. In fact.
The prices are spicy out here, my friend.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. They've come down a little, but the one across the street was for sale a couple months ago. That one's awesome. It's like a gorgeously redone house with 5 acres, and it's pretty bomb.
Good grief.
The only flat you ever got, Tyler changed for you. That's true. I was sitting there. I was eating Thai food while you were getting that tire changed. That was a lot of food, but oh no, I was probably drinking beer by then because it took you guys forever to get back. God, Eddie. Why? How come you got so far behind? Did the sweep rider not? Not. This is only funny to me, Eddie and Tyler, and nobody else because all that stuff got cut out of the video. But
that's the thing about some of these like longer trip videos is you can never include everything,
Yeah.
and there's so much stuff that you're like, this would have made a good video. I'm half tempted next time I do like a big journey to just film it all and like post it on a second channel or put it up on Patreon and be like, all right, here's 5 hours worth of footage.
straight raw footage.
Yep, have fun. It's just going to be a lot of in the camera.
Yeah. It's all the times I forget to turn the camera off and take a piss. Which Matt, my editor, loves. And in fact, I'd sometimes just tell him it's in there, but don't tell him where. So he's just dreading it the whole time. And I almost always just don't. It's not actually in there. But...
I mean, the biggest thing I want to do if I was going to do more traveling is make sure that I have more time to ride off-road. Because I can ride on-road anywhere. And there's something about riding your own motorcycle off-road that just works better. Like, it's part of the reason why I just am kicking myself for not having an extra day or two up here. But, I mean,
just drive faster afterward.
Dude, it's a 02 Ford E350 5.42 valve with 175,000 miles. Fast is the last thing it does.
Well, don't sleep.
The only thing it does fast is slam into a bridge abutment.
Sometimes you want to jerk the wheel into a goddamn bridge abutment.
With South Dakota last weekend. I mean, like 2 days ago. Yeah.
I think the question is, how was South Dakota?
Oh, how was South Dakota?
Yeah, you
It was
missed a
awesome.
word.
Yeah, no, I've been in a van all day. My brain is fried from exhaust fumes and sleep deprivation. It was great. It was unbelievable. I love South Dakota. Specifically the Black Hills. Everything else is kind of just rolling cow farms. But it's a ton of fun. It's the best thing that the folks from Revzilla do is they ride the crap out of these routes and they scale the difficulties each day. So like medium day 1 is easier than medium day 3. So they do good work out there, and for somebody who doesn't spend a ton of time in the dirt, you can just sort of send it.
I'm not bored. I'm reading chat. It just looks like my eyes are going down because it's over here. Yes, I still have the 300. It was in the video not that long ago. I took it to Touratech. Wait, did I not put that video up? Oh, well, I took it to Touratech. I didn't make a video to Touratech now that I think about it. It was there, though.
Just drag it up to Canada.
Yeah, well, I'm going to Canada in 2 weeks.
I know, I talked to Dallas.
Oh, did you? Are you going?
No, not on that one. I couldn't make it work this year, but...
Well, they have bikes up there, so I'm actually going to ride dirt bikes, so I don't even
Nice.
have to take a bike. I'm going to ride a 250F, which I'm really worried means I'm going to buy a dirt bike when I get home. I just got to keep telling myself, you don't even ride trails that much. You need a dual sport, but God, it's going to be night and day, dude.
Have you told the folks his sales pitch for the event?
No?
So the way he explained it to me was it's like it's 5 days. You're gonna come out. We're gonna beat the absolute shit out of you.
Grizzbait. You're talking about Grizzbait?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna beat the shit out of you, and you're gonna come back with a deeper appreciation of yourself and motorcycling and the world.
Okay, that sounds familiar. He's laying the same rap on you.
Yeah, I'm gutted I can't go. I couldn't swing it this year. It's just too much stuff happening all at once.
He scared the shit out of me with all the talk about like how hard it was going to be and how you need to be in really good shape. And so I had this grand plan to like I was going to hit it hard at the beginning of the year and lose a bunch of weight. And obviously that has fallen by the wayside. So I emailed him like 2 weeks ago. And I was like, so I don't want to take up somebody's spot if I'm literally going to die. And he's like, you'll be fine. I was probably exaggerating, bro. We'll see. We'll see. But the riding. So for those of you that don't know, Grisbait is in way northern BC, like you can see Alaska from where you are, like on the edge of the Yukon territories or northwest territories. Yeah. And it's all this like stuff that's only I'm going to the end of August, and it's all this stuff that's only accessible at that time of year because the snow has finally melted. It's going to be, and it's all Honda dirt bikes, and you stay at this remote lodge. Like we all have to fly in on the same flight so they can put us on a van and drive us out to this lodge.
Yep.
So it's going to be an experience.
Yeah, and I was gonna go. So you're the week before me, I think, or 2 weeks before the one that I was gonna go on. And Dallas was saying there's gonna be snow if you're coming up in September.
Ugh, yeah, I
Like,
bet.
you'll be riding through
It's
snow.
a small window, like a 1 month window. Sounds like crazy. After this last BDR experience, would I try BDR solo? I always prefer to ride with others because I'm not that good and shit goes sideways. But I would do much of, now that I've done Oregon, I would consider doing much of it by myself. I don't think I would do Section 1 by myself just because the margin for error out there is so slim because there's no help, right? Anywhere nearby. But I would consider it. The other thing one thing I was hoping to gain knowledge of was what I would take my Tenere on parts of the BDR. That was weirdly worded. And I have a better idea. I would do most of it on the Tenere now, but I didn't know that at the beginning. Excuse me.
Alan and Dan, yes, we are talking about that.
Good times. I gotta find that video.
Yeah, not gonna dive too much into that one, but yeah, that we are talking about that experience, and I was dying to go up there. I just couldn't swing it, and I'm so excited to hear. I'm gonna watch those videos all the way front to back and just be like,
hopefully it's good times. I mean, it might just be me like crashing on the first day. It'll be like a 3-minute video. Oh no, the air's too thin. I can't. Sorry, I'll be at the lodge. Is there beer in there? Okay. Whew. I gotta recuperate. Got a carb load.
their lodge seems really sweet from what he was saying. It's like, catered meals and stuff.
It'll be good, and it'll be a certain type of person. Like, it'll be a good crowd, I think, because you all have something very much in common. So that should be good.
A bunch of spazzes out there,
Yeah,
right.
a bunch of idiots. I've seen some video like they're like, okay, well, there's this really cool glacier you can get to, but we have to ride up this scree slope. So, and then they all just like try it over and over. like only 2 dudes made it, and I was like, well, that's not gonna be me. But just like stuff like that up there, pretty funny.
That's the kind of thing that I would do, even if I'm like, yeah, I'm probably gonna crash. Just send it, see what happens.
YOLO. People still say that, right? YOLO.
When I first started riding off-road, I was on a DRZ 400 SM with Shinko 705s on it. And I took that off-road and just started goofing around and had some horrible, terrible experiences, but I had a lot of fun, and then I traded for KLR.
Yeah, well, I miss my DRZ. It's probably the only bike I had that I miss. Yeah, I could buy another one someday.
How quickly would you say you'd go through bikes?
It depends. Thanks, Nerf Bullets. Cheers to Nerf Bullets.
Cheers.
I just cost you $20 more, or Spite did. One of us did. Both of us. I don't know. Too quickly, but I've shifted my philosophy to like, I've got 2 bikes that I'm keeping for me, right? Like, so I've got right now it's a Tenere and the 450L. Those are my bikes that I have and to do stuff. So like that's why I did the suspension on the 450L. Like I actually put a bunch of money into it. I think I'm gonna have Paul do the suspension on the Tenere too.
Yep.
And then I have content bikes. So that's what my 300L is right now. But I was going through those so damn fast. I made a vow when I bought this one that I was going to keep it for a year to really like thoroughly evaluate it. And it's been like 7 months so far. So no plans to. I'm honestly like more like I don't want to sell it back now because like we had a deal. I'm going to sell it back to Eddie, but I keep waiting for him to decide he doesn't want it back. 'Cause I'm not 100% sure I want him to get it back.
Because you just fall. If you spend enough time with a motorcycle, you either learn to love it or you fall in love and never get rid of it.
Yeah, and I'm a Honda guy through and through. Having 3 Hondas in my garage right now feels really good. Feels natural.
It's a sea of red out there that Tenere is swimming in.
It is, yeah, but it's like head and shoulders above. So it's because Yamaha has the attitude.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about.
I will say though, I don't love the Tenere as much as the internet does. It's not my favorite.
What don't you like about it?
It's so gutless on the street.
It is.
It's so gutless out there.
I'll give you that because my Norden was 1,000 times more fun to ride on the street, but I still ride that like an asshole, so it's probably good that I have that. God, I rode up the highway you just came down to go ride Section 5 of the BDR before I went and did it for real, and I just got to the point where I was like, you're all driving so slow and I can get around you in like 4 seconds. What does this double yellow mean to me?
Right?
And I must have done like 10, and I was like, I need to knock this shit off, but I just kept doing it.
Yep, because it's just easy.
You just can. Ugh, yeah.
Yeah, no, the passing, for me, the KLR passing power is like, okay, I see a Camry a mile ahead of me.
Gotta get
Open the throttle.
I was leading a group of us camping one time when I was on my KLR, and I was the only one not on comms with them. And they were having this whole conversation about, is he going to pass this car? Do you think he can do it? Is he going to... Oh my God, he's doing it! Like, it was a whole thing. I got by. It was fine.
Mm-hmm.
It was fine. Yeah, sorry, Stu. My Seat Concepts guy left, and I'm having a lot more trouble getting them to reload the code than I was before. So, even though they keep selling seats, you'd think they would want it to work. Sorry. I'm worried about what happens when I get a new bike. Shut up, Eddie. You didn't hear any of that. This one's a lot calmer.
Mm-hmm.
He's old. And a pug. This is a cattle dog. She's a maniac. Not right now, though.
No, passed out.
Yeah. She's asleep on the floor.
Tired from chewing on my hand and playing with a toy.
And doing parkour on the back of the couch.
I do want to get like a Gen 1 KLR now after having the Gen 3 so I can do a big bore mod on it and like see what the old bike is like.
The Everride KLR.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, Terry, you're at sea right now? You have internet out there? I'm honored. He's fishing or crabbing in Alaska.
Damn, man.
Is the Motorola Defy that thing that connects to your phone that makes it so you can text to the satellites? Because that's what my InReach does, which is why I haven't really thought about getting one. Is that the thing? I don't remember.
I should probably get something that allows me to communicate with another human being if I crash solo out on a route.
Yeah, that's sort of
Kind of important.
Yeah.
I thought about that when I had almost stranded this ibex in the middle of the woods.
Sent her a little too hard.
Well, it just so I get to the bottom of this hill, and I see 3 guys on dual sports, and they're one guy's on a 2-stroke, one guy's on an FE501, and the other guy's on some KTM. They're all orange.
You decided to follow them
No, I decided to go in front of them because they were all just sitting there chilling on the side of the trail.
for no reason.
They were just chilling, having some fun, talking bullshit about, how their Euro bikes are leaking oil or whatever. And so I'm like, all right, I'm just cruising. So I go between them and up the hill, and I get halfway up, and then the bike just hits a rock, stalls.
Ugh.
Because it gets beached on this rock. So I'm halfway up a hill with these guys on dual sports right behind me, certainly just looking at me up, and they're like, this guy's a dumbass.
At that point, you became an obstacle.
I got it out by myself, though. I feel very happy. I apologize, CF Moto.
Hey, thoroughly tested.
Mm-hmm.
Thoroughly.
Don't take it on a hard loop. It's not. It's a really great sport or adventure tourer. Not a real great adventure bike.
What is that widget for the ECU? You mean the map switch or the ECU itself? I got an email from them, by the way, today. They're sending me another ECU. Sorry, Mike, if you're watching. I appreciate your support, but I didn't ask you for that. I guess I'll try it. That must be why you're sending it. I'm excited, but they have a new one coming out.
Like new tunes and stuff for it.
No, it's a whole different ECU. So they sell 3 different ones. Like the Vortex and the AIM and the Get. I think is the other one, the Athena, and this is a new one they're getting. And so Mike's always trying to get me to do like comparison videos. I'm like, dude, that's so not my thing because I'm an idiot. Like, you don't want my opinion on mechanical things. Ooh, it's fast now. Oh, this one too. Like. But it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I wanted to buy an XR150L. That was like, you guys remember the Adventure Grom? Well, the XR150L would be better than that from the beginning, and I could still do dumb shit like fat guy on a little bike. I would love to have one of those, but
there's a guy in my Discord server who won't shut up about it.
Really?
Yeah. It's a lot like Grom Squids. They won't stop talking about it. Didn't they just come to the States or something like that? Weren't they like
literally
in Brazil?
like a week ago or a month ago or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've had them all over because like my friend Grace was riding one in Thailand last year, but they haven't had them here. Great buddy bike, not expensive. There was somebody selling on Facebook Marketplace. I found it like 20 minutes after it went up, a Navi for $1,500. Which blew my mind because everyone's selling them for like $2,600, even though MSRP is $18. And I was like, you don't need it, you don't need it, you don't need it, you don't need it. And then I waited just long enough and it was gone because I was definitely thinking about it way too much. Put some knobbies on it, break it. That's my jam.
Doesn't it have like 2 inches of ground clearance?
Yeah, well, so did my Grom. I dented the header the first time I took it out. I did jump it over a log. It was a branch. It was like this big. That's all I had.
That's just how embellishment works when it goes with, when it comes to off-road riding.
I sent it off of a log.
The rocks get bigger, the hills get taller, and the branches get longer.
Yeah, the GoPro flattens everything out.
Do you get a bunch of folks in the comments being like, that's not real off-road?
Every time. You should see the comments on my expert section video. People are like, that looks easy. I could drive my Honda Civic up. That's my favorite comment. I could drive my Honda Civic up there. Honda Civics don't fall over, jackass. It's a little different, but sure.
Yeah, I get a lot of, in my country, this is road.
Well, I mean, that's probably true. I get a lot of, you're not off-road, that's a road. Okay. Colloquially, we understand that. Whatever.
If it's not asphalt, it's off-road.
Mm-hmm. Right, unless you're literally just like, I'm going to go that way through the forest. You're probably on a road or a trail or something. Hey, Eddie, welcome to membership, buddy. I thought you already were. Oh, I like NADV. That's smart. Wizard, do it. How did the BDR Slayer work out? It lived up to its name. I love that bike. Famous last words, I can't see any reason to ever get rid of it. Because there's nothing better that exists right now. The best. Okay. Wow, I'm 3 beers in. Actually 2. In my opinion, the best stock dual sport motorcycle that you can buy, most capable, not like best, right? But most capable you can buy is a KTM 500 EXCF or a Husky 501, right? Yep. It is. It just is. But they're $13,000. I bought a Honda, and a 450L is not a great stock bike. Let's just get that out of the way. It isn't. It's unless you want to just pin it through the desert. That is a motocross bike. It's not a great dual sport for a lot of stuff that we do. But bought mine for $7,700, $1,200 in exhaust. That's $9,000. Okay, $600 ECU, $800 in suspension. I'm not doing math right now, but that's less than $13,000. It's just as capable as a 500, and it's a Honda.
Means you won't have to rebuild the top end every time you take it out.
Right, and then, maintenance, whatever people always say. But it's just the price you pay for performance. If you want it, you're going to have to deal with it. But it's a Honda, so I'm really happy with that bike now. But in stock form, I was not.
First time I took an FE 501 off road, I managed to whiskey throttle it and land right on my elbow in the first maybe 45 minutes of a 3-day trip.
Oh,
yeah. That was an interesting experience. I had to miss day 2, which was a good thing because it was down in the in Moab, and it was just all rocks. And not just like rocks, but like big ass boulders.
Crashing is not good.
Yeah, so I was just like, you know what? I had some fun after I took some ibuprofen on the trail, and then I didn't biff myself on a bunch of rocks, and I did okay.
Thanks, R. Slater. Cheers. Appreciate that. Curious amount. I wonder why you picked it.
69.
Oh, weird. How do you keep your bikes cool in the heat? The radiator does that.
You don't live in Texas.
No, for sure.
Yeah, no. I was on a Moto Guzzi California, which is air cooled, and it was 107 when I left Austin.
You need a refill? You're good.
I would love a refill.
I'm just gonna get a whole other can. Yeah,
Perfect.
pour it in there.
Yeah, no, I'd appreciate that. It was 107, and I think the bike was like I turned it on after filming on the side of the road, and it just smelled like a volcano. In Texas, if you stop, the bike dies. It's just so hot. Damn. I used to have a VFR. Thank you, sir. And that VFR would get to like 100 or 230 degrees.
Move, dog.
Just sitting at a red light.
Move, dog. That's hot.
Very hot. It's the only bike I almost had overheat on me.
Addison, I'm back on the keto, so I'm drinking the Michelob Ultras tonight because they're only 2.5 carbs each. And since Jake is out here in our neck of the woods, I had to get him the finest beer available in all of Oregon. And the P&W at large, really. Vitamin R, the Ranier. It's tolerable.
It's beer. It's bubbles and bread and alcohol-ish.
Yeah, you said I'd like cheap beer, so I got you the best cheap beer we have.
There you go.
Here we go. That's like semi local, like that's not the word I'm looking for. Available only here in the
Regional.
P&W. That is probably it.
Yep.
Says the guy with a degree in words.
You got a degree in words, or do I got? Because I got a degree in making cameras take pictures.
Ah, damn. We should work for each other.
Yeah, no, that's why my footage looks terrible.
I'm no good at camera picture taking. That's why I just have to. That's why I have a ZV-1 because it does all the work for me, or at least better than I could do.
You know, it's funny because I spent like I can't remember when I went solo. I bought a Lumix GH6 for like $2,400. Maybe it was like $3,000 by the time I left with mics and stuff. And it's getting to the point with phones now where for 90% of the stuff most folks want to watch on the internet, your phone can handle it.
Most YouTubers, lots of YouTubers film with their phones, which is crazy to me because how do you not fill it up all the time?
Shade Tree Surgeon uses a GoPro 4. He uses a GoPro Hero 4 and he buys them up like whenever they go on sale on eBay. He buys a bunch of them because he breaks them.
That's the last time they were good. What was it for?
I mean, that's what he says. He says that they're easy to edit and the color's good, but my 11 looks fine.
Well, yeah, when it works.
Mercifully, I actually haven't had that many issues. I had a 10 that was just absolutely cursed. It was a 50-50 flip on whether or not the footage would corrupt or
So
the
my 10
mic
was,
slot
yeah,
would break.
I'd have no audio when
Yep.
it did work. Pain in the ass, dude. Mm-hmm. Well, never mind. I'm not going to say anything. Let's just say I've spent some time with a viable alternative recently. There might be a video coming out.
Oh, nice. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I thought maybe that was the thing you had to get home to work on, because I know when the date is.
Yes, that is part of what I have to work on.
I have to do all that when I get back from the camp out, but I have to film on the camp out.
Have you been playing with it?
A little, yeah. I filmed in Alaska. Did a... Are we getting into NDA territory? No. Did a battery test. That's all I'm saying.
It's nice that cameras are catching up to GoPro. That's all I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
Cameras are getting up to GoPro.
Yeah, which is good because maybe they'll start, I don't know, supporting their cameras or...
Dude, you know what blows my mind as somebody who does camera things, sort of, kind of for a living. Why the fuck doesn't any of these action cameras have a gain setting so that you don't have to like have any weird mic shit going into your GoPro?
Some of them do.
Just like give me a gain slider, input gain, -4 or whatever.
I feel like you might be happy with something soon.
Wasn't one of Shade Tree's batteries? Was it? What? Huh? What is going on? Turbo time? I'm not sure what that was.
We have a delay. It was in response to something you said, I bet.
I am gonna send just out of the blue one of these days. I'm just gonna send Shade Tree Surgeon a brand new nice Duracell motorcycle battery and just see what happens. Just out of the blue, I'm just gonna send it to his PO box and be like, "Here's a battery.
You need this."
That's what happened with the fucking Goldwing. He stranded me out in the middle of nowhere with a Goldwing with a bad battery because he keeps getting all these refurbished ones.
That'll happen.
Don't trust that dude.
Oh, battery test. Got it. Yeah. Excuse me. It was not. Trav's here, Brad, but he so he had to go home, obviously, and then he was on a strict regimen of Gatorade and Diablo 4 for a week. He wasn't supposed to go outside in the heat, so he suffered through while we were out there dying in the freaking heat and dust and garbage. He was sitting at home playing Diablo, sending me updates on how high his character was getting. Dick.
I made it to 60, I think, before I left, and then I heard about patch 1.1 and how everybody's all butthurt.
They are very butthurt, but I've been playing it, and it feels like Diablo to me.
Yeah.
But I don't get super wrapped up in the meta. Plus, I wasn't, I guess, to the point where any of that mattered yet, because I was in Alaska until like 4 days into it. So,
yeah, I got to get back and start doing the season stuff.
it's fun. I mean, I don't really like the battle pass thing, but it's more. We used to just get in Diablo 3, you'd get a pet and like wings, and that was it. So at least there's more stuff. I don't know. Whatever, gives me something to do. Under best dual sport under 5K new, there
Good
aren't
luck.
any. Like,
Yeah.
because you said KLX, but the KLX 300 is more than that. Because like near 5K, it's the KLX or the CRF, and just get the one you can get because they're essentially the same. I made a video about that. Like each one has like one or two things that are better than the other, but it all kind of balances out. It's a wash in my book. Lex, it was Paul at Evo here in Forest Grove, in Oregon. Okay, thanks. Different Lex, but
How did the Harbor Freight hitch carrier with the KLR hold up so far? It's doing great, man. For $250, I mean, hell yeah, Harbor Freight all the way. The biggest thing with Harbor Freight tools is don't go if you want to get something precise. If you want to get a torque wrench, don't go to Harbor Freight. But if you just need like a thing that's made of metal that doesn't do anything other than hold stuff, Harbor Freight is really great.
they say Harbor Freight's the place to go. So you buy your first set of tools at Harbor Freight, and when you break the Harbor Freight version, you know you're ready to upgrade to something good.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Otherwise, it just lasted you forever, and you're fine. NorCal is next year, Limb Soup. It's confirmed. So NorCal is the next BDR. They'll release it probably in February. And that one's supposed to be a beginner friendly BDR. The idea is it's gonna be scenic, which is great because we're talking Shasta, we're talking all kinds of gorgeous territory, the Siskiyous, all of that, but with harder offshoots. So the idea is it's a great first BDR, which is good because that's a total contrast to Oregon, in my opinion. And but if you're a more experienced rider, there's still fun to be had. So I'm actually looking forward to that. And it's nice because Washington's close. And then obviously Oregon, and now we'll have the next closest place you could have one is Northern California, so I'm happy. Because I can get to Sacramento in about 10 hours, and I'm assuming it will start in that area somewhere.
I wish that somebody would just get all the freaking cattle ranchers that just have a gazillion acres in Texas to just open it up. Just let some people play around out there, Just there's so much great stuff in Texas, but it's all behind 10-foot fences guarded by dudes on quads with shotguns.
Yeah, because cattle rustling's still a thing.
they're just like, get off my property.
They watch too much Yellowstone.
Oh yeah.
They need to talk to all the guys up here that lease the federal land and just let their cows roam, and we just ride through them. Like, I have a whole cow pun library going because we see them so often on all of our rides out on the federal land, and it seems to be fine. I haven't hit one yet. Tim ran into a huge pile of cow shit, which we got in a slow motion replay, which was because he thought it was a rock, and he went to like launch off it, and it just went just like everywhere.
Nice.
It was awesome.
Yeah, there's in Texas, it's all longhorns, big giant cows with 6 foot wide horns sticking off their head, and I guess people are really protective of their 12 cows that they have to have out there so that they get their tax credit, and then just they sit on their porch with a rocking chair and a beer and a shotgun and just doing this all day.
Go to those cows outside. Cow farm. Yeah, I want to do Idaho. Idaho's supposed to be faster and easier, but more scenic. It's supposed to be less difficult. Everybody's saying you can double up sections in a day because Idaho is very long. It's the length of Oregon and Washington combined. But if it's just a fast gravel road, a lot of it, you could do a lot of miles. Yeah, sorry, dude. I was in Alaska with my wife for our anniversary. Couldn't make it to Sturgis, but I want to be there next year. That's awesome, Craig. Jealous of you.
One of my buddies went on a scouting ride with Tyler one time. Maybe Tyler, if Tyler's still watching, Norbert, German guy. Very, very eccentric, very German.
Seems like with a name like Norbert, you'd remember.
Yeah, he's interesting dude, and he's done a couple of scouting rides, I think, with the Ride at EV team, and it's got me jealous. I want to go goof off. So when I was doing the adventure training course in Vegas, there was potential talk of us doing this like Toro Weep ride out to the Grand Canyon, North Rim of the Grand Canyon. That would have been really fun. But we ended up doing Bitter Springs, and that was fun too.
Black Bear Pass. I have not. No.
What dat?
It's a pass. It has black bears.
Is that the one on the Tat where there's the Jeep that falls off of it?
I've seen that video. I don't know. I don't actually know where it is. I just know I haven't done it because I would know where it was if I had.
I think it's now that we're talking about that one. I know that clip is on the Tat in Colorado somewhere. Of the
it just comes out of nowhere.
Yep, it's just right down the hill.
Somebody got messed up on a shelf road. Yikes. That's the dream.
That was one of those things where I get a text late at night from Shade Tree Surgeon. He's like, "I'm gonna do this on a Sportster. You want to come?" I was like, "Yeah, just let me know whenever you want to go do it." And then that text never comes because he gets distracted.
What's up, Moto Coco? It's so cool to see you. Cutting out Trav, like, I bet it's the noise gate. I've got it set pretty high because this fan likes to kick on all the time. So you're going to lose the beginning and the end of the audio. I can move the mic over, though. Hold on. Let's do a little surgery.
Ta-da!
Well, you could see it. Starbuck, go back to sleep. You're a maniac. Okay. I can also turn the gain up a little, actually, since we're farther away than I normally am. That might help. There's Tyler.
Norbert is hilarious. What a character. Yeah. Yeah, no, he's a very eccentric dude. He's in my riding group, the Sons of Technology in Austin. Good friend. Total spaz. Love that guy.
I'd love to do Argentina, Joe, but that's like a 3-week trip, so it's been hard to find time for that. It'll get easier because my kid is driving now. That's like a big limiting factor because I've had to take her to school, and so that's not the case anymore, which is weird to say out loud, but gives me a little bit more flexibility.
Sooner rather than later, grabbing the keys to the motorcycles and taking them for a spin.
Yeah, well, she knows how to ride, but she kind of got disinterested. So I sold her bike. It was at Giant Loop, though. It was the lady I sold it to. They were there. It was in the slow race. But predictably, it stalled because, well, that's how it was. It's an old, very storied XT225 with like 15,000 miles on it.
That 15,000 miles on a bike like that's like 150,000 miles.
Well, and our friend Chris took it and did. So that's why I say storied history, because it's been like in this group.
Mm-hmm.
Like a bunch of us have owned it. And Chris took it all. They did, God, which BDR was it? Nevada? Or could have been Colorado, but she rode it there and did the BDR and rode it home and got home and was like, nope, I need a bigger bike because the highway section. But that thing would do 65 with me on it. I was shocked. Like, it was pretty fun.
Impressive.
Yeah, it was a fun little bike. And there's nothing like it. 250 pounds. Like, they just don't make bikes like that anymore, unfortunately. The XT250 is still fun, but it's not as light.
Speaking of 250s, I want to get my hands on a T-Dub.
Yeah, me too.
Or I guess
wanted
it's a
one of those
200.
forever. Yeah, I got to ride one at Turatech a couple years ago because Brian, the Hippo Hands guy, has one. And he's like, "Oh, we're gonna take it out, whatever." That's exactly what I expected.
There's a guy, I can't remember which route I was doing at Sturgis, who had one, and it's, you see it and you're like, oh, it's just like a little dual sport, and then you get behind it and you realize that tire's as big around as a freaking R1's tire, but it's just knobby all the way to the rim.
Well, it's half your shock absorption right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an ATV tire. Oh, excuse me. It's like I'm drinking cheap beer or something. Yeah, it's a donkey, but a total unkillable, immortal donkey.
That's the beauty of some of those old dual sports, is you can just do horrible, terrible things to them, and they just take it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the amazing Hawk 250 that has no rust on it because it's been sitting outside for a year.
Hey, I only paid $800 for it. You
Surface.
want it back?
No. It wasn't mine. It was my brother's. I just ended up storing it for him when he moved and didn't have a garage anymore.
I don't really have a ton of plans for that bike, but if it survives, maybe I'll give it away on my Discord or something.
Hey, it's got a good history, especially, I mean, the wreck, obviously, but then you're driving all the way up here to get it and stuff.
Yeah. I got the KLR in the back, and I'm gonna stuff it in the side of the back of the van somewhere, and then move all the rest of the shit around so that I can lay my mat out and sleep tomorrow night. And then fingers crossed I'll be back in Texas on, what day is today? Is today Wednesday now?
Not yet. That's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow. Okay. So Friday, hopefully I'll be back in Texas. Or maybe Thursday. Honestly, I have no idea. I've been on the road sleeping in the back of the van. I don't know what day it is. I don't know exactly where I am right now. I know I'm in the woods somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I lured you out to my murder cabin.
I'm in someone's basement. I may not survive. Send help, please.
We have good internet though, so it's not free candy anymore that lures people in. It's, I got a gigabit connection.
Yeah, he said he's got 40 gigs up, and I was like, God damn,
It's nice.
That's some nice internet right there.
It's the only reason I'm doing 4K now, and that because I can upload it and upload stuff for Matt, and it's much easier with this ridiculous internet connection.
Yeah, I've got a gig up and a gig down, and because when you are editing, this is getting in the weeds here, and maybe this is boring for the people in the chat here, but so when I edit at 1920 by 1080. Even though I have 4K footage, I downsample it and then I export it at 4K.
I don't have to do that because I just bought a computer with a 4070.
Oh, nice.
So I just edit. It's nice. It's as fast as it used to be when I did 1080, but.
I mean, my rig at home's got a 3090 in it, so, but I find that there's not a huge quality increase between exporting a 1080p file at 4K versus a true 4K file.
Well, I mostly switched to 4K because it's freezing. The camera does that. Well, maybe not. Oh, it'll catch up. Because
nobody freeze frame that photo there.
The GoPro crashing shockingly What was I saying?
We're talking about
To get the higher codec.
Yeah.
That's like it seems like I just get a better bit rate on YouTube when I put it in 4K. So.
Well, that's because at 4K they use a different compression algorithm.
Right, which is for footage where you're riding in an area with a lot of detail at speed. You get a lot of artifacting if you don't get the higher if the compression, the bitrate's not high enough. So
yeah, 1080p footage at this point just looks so crunchy.
Yep, which is why I just got tired of it. So once I got to where I could comfortably edit in 4K. Yeah. Oh no, GoPros never crash, except that's what I'm using as a webcam, and it does it literally every stream. And that's without the battery and the door is open. It still overheats.
Is it an overheat issue?
I think so.
And you don't have the battery in there, so it's just like running off the computer. That sucks.
Yeah. It's a piece of shit. Damn it, Travis screenshotted that. Ugh.
Great. That's a memeable moment right there. Everybody have at it. But if anybody in there,
God damn it.
I see some folks who are
you look so bored too.
I see a bunch of folks who are in my Discord server. Go ahead and make some memes of it. I'll post them all on Instagram.
Okay, that I gotta see.
Yeah.
Oh, I love having Jake in my basement.
Yeah, if anybody got that screenshot who's in the Spites Corner Discord, share it and give it to people to make memes, and we'll post them up on Instagram and have some fun with it.
Will, it would be great if you just replied to my email and let me know, so I'm not worried that you died, because I'm gonna forget because I had a couple beers. Most important tool to bring on a solo off-road no signal trip: some kind of communication device. It can prevent you from needing to use any other tools, but I mean, if you want just a tool, you need a tire changing kit, because that's the most likely thing that's going to happen to you. But better to be able to signal if something worse happens, in my opinion.
So, in terms of like, because I used a tire changer to try to get my Mitas EO7 front end on the KLR, and it was a giant pain in the dick. Even with a tire changing kit, how the hell are people doing this stuff out on a trail?
It gets easier when you have to.
When it's like something that you absolutely have to do, or you don't make it home at night.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't, because first time I ever had to do it on the side of the trail by myself, I think it took me 2 hours, which is stupid, but it did. And then this last time with Tyler and a bunch of us who had done it before, all going at once, we got a tire change in 15 minutes because it was getting dark and we were in the middle of nowhere, Mexico, and we needed to get the hell back to town.
Maybe that's a video I'll do with the Hawk 250 is get a tire changing kit and see if I can go out in the middle of nowhere and change a tire.
I would maybe practice at home first.
No, dude, I don't do any dry runs. I just send it on YouTube, make myself look like a dipshit.
Well, the tires that are on there, I think, are pretty. They're pretty flexible, so it probably would be pretty easy. I just put a D Sport on the rear of the 450L, and that is such a pain in my ass. Those are the most ridiculous tires to mount. It does, Moto Coco. It'll connect. Oh, thanks, Will. I just got your email. That's good. I'll leave it unread, so I'll see it tomorrow.
Yeah, Steve, that EO7, I ended up taking it to a dealership because I was doing it with my buddy, who's like a professional mechanic, and we both tapped out.
Oh, that's what was on the front of the bike the first time I had to do a tire change by myself on the side of the road. So
it was an EO7.
It was an EO7. That's why it took me 2 hours. Not because I was dumb.
It's got such a freaking hard sidewall.
Yeah.
I actually, this will make Eric from Ride Adventures happy. I was reading the what 50/50 tire to use on your adventure bike article that they have on their website, and I was like, Mitas, that sounds cool. So there you go. If you want a nice list of 50/50 tires, Ride ADV's got a good write up on it.
I think if you want a 50/50 tire, you should go with the GPS Tractionator, because it's actually not a 50/50 tire, but it rides like one. But you have decent traction. That's what they have on the rental bikes. On the T70, I had it.
Oh yeah,
It did okay in the sand, which I was really happy with.
Mm-hmm.
That's, well, okay. Yeah. If I'm buying my next set of tires, that's what's going to go on the Tenere.
I really enjoyed the EO7s when I was taking it out in the Black Hills. It hooked up pretty good. When I had it at like 40 pounds on accident. My rear was at 40 pounds the first time I went out, and then I took it down to 25, and it felt a lot better.
That helps.
Yeah, that's just to give you an idea of how much I know nothing about anything. I didn't even bother to check my tire pressures before rolling out on a big ride. So yeah, I are smart.
Well, I'm glad I aired up the tires for you on the Hawk today then, because you might not even have noticed they were flat. This thing handles really weird. It's all over the place.
The first thing I'm gonna do is get it in my garage and sit and have a good think about what I just did to myself.
At least it's cheap. You can sell it for what you paid for it.
Yeah, no,
I mean, especially if you fix it first.
I'm just gonna goof around, have some fun with it. It might do well. It might be an absolute disaster. I also want to buy a bunch of really cheap Amazon parts and just throw it on there and see what happens.
That would be fun. Just like ride them until they break off.
Yep. My DRZ had cheap Amazon levers, and they had that thing where it was breakaway, but they had the little plastic lever that holds the folding part in place. And the plastic didn't break. The screw fell out because it's a DRZ and it shook so much. The screw fell out, and so the plastic just dangled on the thing, and the lever was all wobbly.
Oh my god. Something like that.
Don't buy anything off of Amazon, guys, for your motorcycle. It's like fine if you want to buy, a cheap pair of headphones, but if you want actual levers, don't buy it from Amazon.
That's awesome, Moto Coco. That's the advantage of shopping with a guy who's a person and not Amazon, right? Because he can help you out. Like, and he loves this shit, which is why I'm so happy to support and work with him continually. Because I want to send people to him because he needs to succeed, and I know you'll get what you need. And that was a poem, and I did that on purpose. Not at all.
Sitting here making haikus, just 3 beers deep.
3 beers deep. 3 beers deep in me. Nope. That's not a good start.
It's because you're thinking about it. You got to just have it come right off the cuff.
True. Yeah, that's after party shit.
Isn't that the whole point of haiku? Is you're supposed to encounter inner beauty and stuff, and accidental beauty or something like that.
Out. It's like the framework of the universe.
Yeah.
It just whoa, that was a haiku. That just makes me think of Borderlands and the guy that only talks in haikus.
Mm-hmm.
So every time you kill something, it's like a haiku about slicing jugulars and arterial flow.
I wonder if that guy who was writing all those got paid by the word.
Well, I doubt it. By the syllable, flat rate.
Mm-hmm. Moto Camp Nerd is the best. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, if you need some camping gear, we should get you connected.
Yeah, I've got to build out my van a little bit because right now it's just I got E-Track down in the back for hauling, and I put
That stuff is so
some nice thick padded stuff down on the
stuff.
It's about yay thick foam with abrasive stuff on the top so that it's sticky liner. It's like a Rhino liner, but it's thick. That helps quiet things down 2 decibels maybe out of the probably 110 when you're going down the highway.
Hey, that's the difference between permanent long-term hearing damage and semi-permanent long-term hearing
Just
damage.
momentary tinnitus. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm sitting there going down the road for 12 hours with earplugs in, being like, why won't it stop making these noises?
You need to turn your music up.
Okay, so I had to tear the whole top end off the motor, and when we were doing it, we accidentally broke one of the radio ground canceling signal deals. I forget what it's called, but basically there's these 2 grounds that help remove radio interference. We broke one of them off, and my buddy's like, well, you're never going to use terrestrial radio, so fuck it.
Right. Yeah, I actually took the antenna off
my Tundra because I got so tired of taking it off at the car wash every time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I literally have never once listened to the radio. So
Does anybody actually listen to the radio anymore? No, you just use Spotify.
if it's playing in a store or something, if you can get a Himalayan for $1,500, you should buy that. I thought it was fun. It's gutless as hell, but I thought I would love to go out and take it dumb places.
They've got big bore kits for it. S&S has big bore kits for
Well,
it.
for that price, you can afford it.
Yeah.
It's a very confidence-inspiring bike because you're low to the ground and it's not likely to do something that will surprise you.
Jess from Her Two Wheels has a Hemi now too.
She crashed it, right? Or did she had it up there? Yeah.
Yep. Biffed it on a... there was this one spot where they had, these... Because when you get water flowing over, they put these, like, studs down so that ATVs don't rip the mud out.
I saw the picture, yeah.
But
You see them in water crossings a lot. Yeah.
So you saw the picture immediately after it of the KLR that was up to its, like, front fender in the mud immediately next to it.
Was that you?
No, that wasn't me.
No,
Thank
okay.
God. No, so we rode by Josh and I as they were pulling this KLR out, and they just got done pulling it out. One of the because it was they were doing an all girls ride. One of the girls who was just covered in mud from bailing this KLR out was like, "Don't go there." Came up and like specifically yelled in my helmet to not go there, and I was like, perfect, because I saw the dude in the KLR. I don't know how he didn't overheat because the whole thing was caked in clay.
It was a KLR quicksand. Episode 3 is tomorrow morning, Alex. I have not switched out the rear spring, Ricky Bobby, but I'm going to soon. Also, I want to go fast.
How much do you think upgrading the suspension is on a T7? Is it really worth it?
I think it's worth it. So my guy here, he seems to think he can do it pretty cheap because the stock components are decent, and so you don't need a bunch of extra stuff. That's why my Honda was only $800 because he just did springs. Like all the stock Showa valves are good. He just adjusted them well, and it's a night and day difference. So whatever Paul says he can do, I believe him, and I'm ready. So I'm ready to take him to Tanneray, I think. So we'll find out, but I don't know if he's even going to respring it. I would assume for my weight he will, but
yeah. There's a guy in Austin who I need to take the KLR to and see if he can do a cartridge kit for me. Because my KLR likes to just wobble at about 75 miles an hour.
yeah,
And I'd like to solve that problem.
that front end is
Questionable.
anytime, and you hit, you're trying to ride fast through technical stuff, and it's like thunk, 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 because it's just undersprung. I mean, the forks are tiny. It's like it's just like it seems like a crucial component that they just don't expect people to ride them that fast, I guess.
I mean, the beauty through a lot of the stuff that I was doing in Arizona, or not Arizona, Get on ADV Fest, was you could just sit down and work your way through it. Connor, you're both the reason. Yeah, he's the reason I got a KLR 650. So
What?
yeah, no, I was that was when I first found your channel, was looking for KLR shit, and then I was like, oh shit, he's having fun with it. I'm gonna go get one.
Yeah, that bike was fun. When I had a chance to get a T7,
I had to hop on it.
yeah,
KLR does 75 miles an hour. Yes, if you push it out of an airplane.
yeah, downhill. I did 75. I did mine on the freeway. It was fine. I wouldn't go much faster than that.
Yep.
Oh, she's back. Done bothering your mom? She might settle. Oh, no, your feet smell delicious. 90-ish. Is that like 82?
Yeah, it's indicated 92 or 90.
Oh, yeah, don't ever GPS that thing. That's depressing. I've been 157 this whole time.
So a steering stabilizer is just going to mask the problem, man. If it's got an issue and it wobbles, so a motorcycle shouldn't wobble. It shouldn't need a steering stabilizer to go straight, So I'd like to address the suspension, and then if I need a stabilizer, I'll get one. Like my SMCR, people kept telling me to get a stabilizer for it, and I was like, no, the problem is the rear spring. They're just going to mask the problem and cause issues.
Band-Aid.
Band-Aid, yeah.
It's taking Sudafed instead
Mhm.
of antibiotics. Ooh, the doohickey thing. I think
Oh
we
boy,
have
here we
different
go.
opinions on this
All
based
right.
on a video I saw. So, although not a mechanic, so.
So what is your opinion on the doohickey?
Well, I don't have a strong opinion. And I knew that because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. So I went and asked a mechanic,
Mm-hmm.
and he said I've never had to fix one, and he's been fixing Kawasaki's for 20 years. And oh my god, the conspiracy theory comments on that video. Well, he's obviously works for. Then why be in the video?
Yeah,
if you,
no.
Like, why not just be like, no, I don't want to do a video about it. I just. Well, or like Matt was there because Matt is my friend that works there, and I can't just walk into the service bay by myself
And point a
everyone's
camera
like,
at somebody.
right, and everyone's like, well, that was obviously his boss, and he was just making sure he didn't say anything wrong. No, so like Mike said, he's never had to replace one. Like, he's done it for people that have been like, I want you to replace this doohickey.
Right.
And I do think it's overblown because I literally had people commenting, I just bought a KLR, it's brand new, and I'm afraid to ride it because I think this doohickey's gonna explode. And like, no, it's a wear item. It wears out over thousands of miles. It's not a instantaneous bomb kind of thing. You know, you're good for what I heard 5,000 miles. Even Eagle Mike says you can go 5,000 miles without doing it.
Yeah. So that's more or less where I am. I think so. Let me let y'all in. I'm sure he's explained this to you guys, but YouTube likes inflammatory things. So in the title and thumbnail, somebody went hard in the paint. I specifically leaned into that title and thumbnail because I knew that it would cause people to get in the comments and start writing stuff. And that's just the nature of the business we're in. I apologize if it felt like clickbait, but I explained why I was doing it. And so my theory with the doohickey is it's not actually the mechanical part that's going to break. It's the spring that's going to lose tension, and then you're just going to wear that chain out faster. Mm-hmm. So if I'm planning to keep my KLR forever, basically. I mean, I'm sure I'm going to come up with a new bike to replace it with sooner rather than later. But my current plan is just to put money into this bike. So if I'm going to replace it, I might as well just do it so that it has longevity, you know?
You don't have to worry about it. Peace of mind.
And I got into the motor, and in the video you can see I showed exactly where it was. It was almost spent on the doohickey travel, and the spring didn't have any tension in it anymore. And I did it at 6,000 miles.
Seems like an easy thing for them to upgrade. And they did change something in there, but it wasn't the right thing.
So they stiffened up the actual material that makes up the doohickey, not the spring.
Mm-hmm.
So the spring is just a linear pull spring as opposed to a torsion spring. Don't clip this thing that I just did.
At least it was only one. Yeah. So yeah, I think, and it's a good point that that if they were getting warranty claims, they would fix it just financially. It would make sense, but I don't think they are because it takes too long to wear out.
Yeah, and a lot of guys who are going to keep their KLRs and ride them for long enough are just going to replace it on their own. You know, so it's one of those things where a lot of mechanics might not actually get doohickey problems because people just do them at home once they're out of warranty. Because my bike's out of warranty now. So that's kind of just the doohickey world. I think it's generally an overblown problem, but
Worth doing eventually.
it's cheap insurance.
Yeah.
If you're going to keep the bike forever, you might as well do it.
If you're getting in there for something else, do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I just had the opportunity to drop the oil, so that's one. Yeah, KLR is still a tank. Absolutely, a bunch of people in my comments section got the wrong impression, saying, "Oh well, I'm never going to get a KLR now." No, you should still get a KLR. It's still a great bike.
Every bike has something like that. Some consistent issue.
Options on the Thermobob thing. The Thermobob, that is not that's not overblown. That's a real deal. So that keeps your cylinder in round, which means you're going to burn less oil. You have to do the Thermobob. Do it as soon as you possibly can. I did mine at 400 miles.
There you go. But that's not an open the case thing, right? That's a
Yeah, so all you got to do is you cut one hose and you put like a little T in there, and then you run a hose, and then you pull your thermostat out, which is 2 bolts, and then you put a new thermostat in and a new little housing. It takes an hour.
That's not bad. Cheap insurance too.
Yeah. And that one actually really does make a difference because the KLR 650 drops room temperature or ambient air temperature coolant in at 160 degrees, which is way too early to start cooling a motor down.
This is the guy that says he doesn't know anything. Anyway, the temperature is 2 degrees off, and it's going to cause a 0.7 millimicron distortion in your overall.
A couple thousandths of an inch, but that's enough to cause you to burn oil.
See? I was bullshitting, and he's just like, yeah, totally that, what you said.
I just watch enough videos and I commit stupid things to memory. I've just like, it's that meme of like somebody trying to remember a name and pushing it into their head, and there's just all the blocks of dumb knowledge they have.
Song lyrics. And,
Yep.
Yeah. Bypass is good advice. Probably. I don't know which one you're talking about, but I think do that. Bypass it.
Versus 650.
I think it's a great bike if you want to go ride around the road a lot. They're just better bikes if you want to ride off road. I liked mine, except for the constant nut crushing of the seat design, which is ridiculous. But I think it was a fun bike. I liked it. I thought about getting a Vulcan for a while because I just liked that motor and the character of it. But shut up. I just knew. I didn't know any better. I was coming from a 500F. It was like a Ferrari compared to that.
Are we going to have a problem here? That 650 is not a fun motor.
Well, I didn't know any better.
No.
That's what they put in the Gixxer for beginners.
Yeah. I can't handle that bike. It's just too. It's the best bike you can possibly get if you're a chartered accountant and you actually use a pocket protector.
Okay. You think that's the best one for that?
Oh yeah, that or maybe like an NC 750X.
Yeah, that's the bike. Well, what they do is they take half a Honda Civic engine and like put it in a motorcycle. It revs up to 3,500 RPMs.
It's got the DCT in there, man.
Anyway, it's an adventure bike. No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
I almost, for shits and giggles, somebody said, talking about the CB500X, they had it at the Vegas training for Ride ADV, and I almost goofed around with it.
It's one in my garage.
It's an okay motor. It's okay.
I think it might be the best beginner adventure bike
Really?
because it's perfect for the types of adventures beginners go on.
That's a good point.
It's not a great adventure bike, but a beginner is going to dick around putting up a gravel road to get to a campground now and then, and it's a perfect bike for that.
Totally get that, yeah.
But you will outgrow it. But that's the thing. People are always like, well, yeah, eventually. Yeah, you're going to outgrow it. You're going to get a different bike. People do it all the time. Like, especially dual sports out here hold their value really well. So you're going to be out a few $100 if you sell it and then move on to something else. But it's a lot better than starting on a bike that's too much for you, getting intimidated or hurting yourself and deciding you don't want to ride anymore, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's nice to have a bike that just can do the stuff you want to do. It'll the beauty is it's a Honda and it's that 500, so it's low compression. It's just going to putter along and get you where you want to go.
Well, and I've seen people beat the shit out of them. Those ride bikes take a lot of punishment.
Yeah, they do.
And on riders that are not good at riding, and so they get dropped a lot, and they just take it and keep on going. So it's a fun bike.
DCT
for what it is.
What do you think of DCT?
Never ridden one. I would like to try it.
I think that there's value to it. So when I did Vegas training, Dave Moss was there, and he was on his DCT Africa Twin. It was really cool because I was watching him like set up suspension. Dude's so good at it that he can just like look at what you're doing, and he's like, "You need to move your handlebar
2 clicks.
that like 2 mil to the right, and then you're gonna be happy. And then We're going to do 2 clicks, and then we're going to up your preload, a spin here, and then you're good to go.
Wow.
But yeah, he was on the DCT, and he was doing good, from what I remember. And then he just got to the point where he was like, he couldn't use the clutch, right? There's no clutch on it, so
drag the rear.
yeah, he was like doing battle with the transmission, and that seems like it would be a little distracting, especially off road.
Super afraid I would just try to grab the clutch and go over the front handlebars.
This
It's just that parking brake. I know it's really like far out. but
Mm-hmm.
I still think that would happen. I don't know. I'm the guy that uses the clutch when I ride a recluse, so I'm just too used to it.
I don't know. I think the beauty of having the DCT is it makes a lot of sense if you're doing big miles or if you're commuting a lot. But if you're doing something where you actually need you need fine control of the engine, you don't really want to have DCT because it's the computer that's running everything for you. Yeah, you might have paddle shifters, but it's not going to be the same as having that fine motor control that your fingers have. There's a lot that is done with just these 2 fingers when you're riding, as I'm sure a lot of y'all can attest to.
Good.
I'm all square, yeah.
Okay. Well, we're coming up on 2 hours, so what do you think?
Keep going on here for another hour, stop, or switch to an after party, which is what I normally do, but we have such a good number, I could see staying here for a bit too.
I'm game either way. I mean, I'm so past like the point where I know exactly where I am and what my name is,
Yeah.
so I'm just good to just coast.
Why? The other option is you're tired, you've been driving for 300 hours, and we could stop doing this. And
No, I'm having a good time, man.
Okay. Well, I say we just keep going for a bit.
Let's do it. Let's have some fun.
We don't have to exclude a bunch of people tonight, especially because the big camp out this weekend is only for channel members and patrons. So if you want to get invited to next year's camp out, maybe think about becoming a member or a patron. It's free. I paid for everybody, but and it still filled up in 12 hours, which is why I did it for channel members and patrons in the first place, because I had a limited number of spots, and I didn't want it to be a thing. So, but it'd be fun though.
Are you going to try to do the next year's one same kind of weekend?
I just got a wild hair about 4 months ago and started looking for campsites I could book and get enough, and that's how I ended up with this weekend. I have this idea of trying to do it in May. There's this campground out here. It's an old campground, and it's too small. It's like a 16-sider, so they've converted it to a group camp, and you can just rent the whole thing for like $250 a night. And so there's like 16 sites. You have the whole thing. So I think that would be a great place, and it's right in the middle of like some of my favorite riding areas.
Sweet.
So I would like, but you can't get it. Like I need to book it for 2 years from now. So I need to just get on and do that. But it's such a great spot. I really want to do it there. And then we'd have lots more room. And the other thing is I didn't want to make it too big in a public campground filled with other people, because we're going to be rowdy as it is. Fortunately, I made friends with the camp host, who happens to be a friend of the channel. But
maybe next year I'll inflict myself upon you lot.
yeah, I was hoping you would be a special guest, but no, too cool.
I promise I'll make it happen next year. You guys out there in Streamland, you can hold me to it.
Well, you should come up for the Giant Loop ride or something. That's the big party. We have a great time with that one. That's the first weekend in June.
I'm really trying to. This year has been, or this trip has been really illuminating in terms of what I need to do to maintain some semblance of channel structure and travel.
Summer's tough.
Because I'll tell you, the weird thing about my whole situation, and some folks may not see that the back end all that much. I have experience from previous work, and then I just showed up in a place where I suddenly have a channel that can support what I do. But I had no infrastructure. Like suddenly I had the audience, but no infrastructure.
Yeah, you blew up like what? You got to 50,000
overnight.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was
I
unbelievable.
was not jealous at all because it took me 5 years to get there.
And I am endlessly thankful for the support that everybody's given me and for the opportunity and all that. But I
You
will
deserve
say
it.
it's just been so hard for me to establish like what, like I still don't even know what actually makes like a good Spice Corner video because I haven't sat down and deep dived the analytics. There's so much like YouTube back end stuff that I spent years learning how to do and just I haven't had time to do it. But next summer, I'll have more of an understanding of what everything is doing because I'll have a year's worth of data and I'll be able to hit the road for longer and go to more events and have fun.
It's true. You gotta find a rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
And mine changes every year, but hiring an editor was the best thing I ever did. This year's been so much less stressful.
So I have an editor on contract, Great Egret Moto on YouTube. If anybody wants to check him out, he actually has a Pan America. So man after my own heart. And I feel really bad because I haven't been organized enough on my end to keep projects on his desk. So I'm really trying to get my shit together so that I can get him rolling. It'll make my life so much easier. And then what I really want to do, because he's got a Pan America, is get him out to one of these adventure rides too.
Yeah.
And just have some fun.
That'd be cool. Yeah, it's again rhythm, right? Finding the rhythm.
Yeah.
You need a process. You need systems in place, is what we used to say.
Yup.
Back in education.
It's hard, especially since like when you're the solo operator, you're just like, oh, I can sleep in till 11:30 in the morning and stumble out of bed and go in the garage and point a camera and
Right. It's tempting.
But I do that every now and again, and then I realize, oh shit, I actually have to go to work today. I have to go right into this dealership, pick up a bike, and go film all day, and it's already 107 degrees outside.
Yeah. Dude, COVID was so good for me because that's a weird phrase. Because we transitioned to working from home, and I got into this real rhythm of I just get up at the regular time, and when I switched to full time, I just kept doing it. So I get up at the same time, and honestly, it's been great.
Yeah.
It's because otherwise I would procrastinate everything. So I just go to work.
Yeah, that I really need structure, and my fiance's been trying to browbeat me into getting a little bit more structure in my life. And she's actually helped me with my merch launch, which has been so helpful. I wouldn't have been able to do it without her help.
Cool. Yeah, we need that support.
Yeah, and the more stuff I can do, the more mo better. So that's why I'm glad to pick up this cheapo dirt bike and go break it somewhere.
Yeah, just wait. It'll throw a rod on your first ride or something. Just catastrophic failure.
And then I know a guy who can. Well, I'll just take it up to Jake the Garden Snake and be like, put a Tenere 700 motor in.
Yeah. Well, I can't imagine these crate motors are very expensive if you needed to just swap or just buy a wrecked. They're all the same motor, so a Braz or a Hawk or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Slap it in there.
Maybe I can convince Jake to put like a CRF motor in there. Get one off a Copart or something. Be like, come on, help me out, buddy.
NorCal will be out next year. What's up, John? Yes, straight booze would be better, but then I wouldn't be speaking complete sentences right now. So, just having a few low carb beers and calling it a night. I'm gonna take seltzers to the camp out because I know I'm gonna drink quite a few more.
Yeah, you're on keto right now, right?
Yeah,
dude, that shit gives me fucking crazy headaches.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing for some people.
Yeah, I get the worst headaches when I'm on keto, and I gotta get my fat ass in shape too.
It's the only thing that's ever worked for me. So, I dropped 80 pounds last time. So, yeah.
I mean, it's the only diet I've ever done where I go to sleep full.
True, you can eat as much as you want. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're doing lazy keto, up to a point, you eventually have to stop doing that and actually track. But yeah, that's what I like about it. I don't, because in any other diet, I have to be hungry, and I hate being hungry.
Whereas on keto, you just fry up a pan of bacon. You're
Yeah.
like, fuck my cholesterol.
Right.
Let's go.
Well, and it's funny because when I get into it, right, you get fat adapted, and I forget to eat, which is not a thing that's ever been a thing for me. You're just always full.
do a BDR with a supermoto, dude. I took my DRZ 400 to Big Bend and tried to do some of those rides, and I took it into one mud puddle on Shinko 705s. I will never do that ever again. 17s and big wide tires, no fun.
Sure, it can be done, but there are better ways to do it.
There was a guy at Get On in Sturgis on a DRZ with, I think, TKC 80s, 17s, which I didn't even know they made. But
yeah, there aren't many great. Well, that's what Jake's got on the front of his bike.
Mhm. Yeah, he had the TW 700 out there.
Pissed, I want to see that thing. I want to ride that thing.
It's a wild bike. Dude.
I've watched every video on it. Like, that's cool. If Suzuki would loan me one, I would be happy to review it. But I would like to ride that 800 DE because on paper it doesn't make any sense to me. But Ian seemed to like it, so it could be one of those better than the sum of its parts things. So I'd like to give it a shot.
I'm gonna have to check out that video because yeah, I'm with you. It seems like it doesn't really make a lot of sense for a good package. But I saw a couple of DEs out at Sturgis, big highlighter yellow ones.
Yeah, hard to miss. I'm doing a live on a Tuesday because Jake's here on a Tuesday, bro.
Hi,
Matt. Everyone go follow Matt. He's my editor or something. Although, sometimes he could be more timely. Not mad about it, though. Just puckering up my butthole a lot the last couple weeks. Both, P. They're very different bikes. Like, and I say, I don't know if you concur, but the Perfect Garage has an adventure bike and a dual sport in it. And because they do very different things and you can set them up very different ways. And so I just want one of each.
So me personally, I don't actually like riding dual sports. That's part of the reason why I want this one.
Ooh,
is to see if I can.
You're not going to get a good impression of dual sports on that thing. You're going to be like, oh, they're all this slow and squishy.
Well, so the problem I have with them is they're so twitchy. So I want something that is a little bit slow and squishy to get me into a smaller package and just see if I can make my brain understand it, because I'm so used to riding big bikes. And I can throw my weight against the KLR really well and Pan America really well.
You should take my 450L around the block tomorrow.
Tear my arms
But
off.
just around the block. Don't keep riding all the way to Texas. You'll want to. Yeah. Well, I like having a dual sport because, like trail riding. I don't want to trail ride on a KLR or on a big bike, right? Or KLR is a dual sport technically, but we have a lot of that out here.
What do you consider a trail?
Literally an OHV trail, like
Okay.
like an ATV trail, single track trail. Like I like to do that stuff. And then the nice thing about the dual sport is it's the reason I took it on the BDR is like I'm as prepared as I can be for whatever I come across on this bike, and I'm going to think about it less. On a heavier bike, I definitely think, okay, that's I don't know, what if I drop it? And I got to learn to do that less. But on the 450, I did not think twice about any sand, and there was a shit ton on the road. I was just like, throwing a dirt bike around in sand is actually a lot of fun once you relax and just do it.
Yeah, I do need to give more of a look to dual sports. It's mostly just because for whatever reason, my first dirt road experience, DRZ on 17s. My second dirt road experience, Pan America in Sturgis.
Yeah, there's a gap there.
And so, funny story, and I've mentioned this a couple of times to the folks at the Harley Footprints at events that I'm at, and I get some sidelong looks too because it involved a little bit of embellishment on my part.
What?
So
I don't believe it.
We get a call from the Harley Davidson folks, and they're like, "Hey, you want to come to Sturgis and check out Pan America out here? We've got some awesome rides planned." Yeah, we'd love to. Okay, do you have any big bike experience? Sure.
Yeah, just not off road.
Yeah, and
lots of big bike experience.
So I get out there having only ridden a DRZ with 17s on Shinko 705s twice off road.
Twice?
Wow. That is the limit of my off road experience. And then I went and took a Pan America off road, and I felt like a fucking superhero.
He's dreaming and twitching.
Just having a snore fest.
He stopped. He was totally twitching anyway. Sorry.
But yeah, I had a come to Jesus moment on the Pan America out in Sturgis, and that's part of the reason why I'm so partial to it. I saw Joe saying the Pan America is overrated. There's definitely I have a personal bias towards it for sure. So
Formative experience.
mm-hmm.
You jumped in with both feet.
Yep.
Because you didn't have a choice.
Mm-hmm. I just sent it and it worked.
Well, it will. I mean, yeah, that bike is more capable than most people that ride it.
Mm-hmm. I also remember doing a little 40 roll with Blockhead down one of the.
He's like doing Morse code with his little paw. Chewy's asleep over here, just twitching like this, like barking at stuff.
Getting ready to go for a run.
Hold on. Same color as that pillow.
Perfect camo.
Yeah.
It'll do the job, but a lot of better options available. It kind of depends on what you are looking to do, man. You know, if you want to tour and you're like mostly looking at gravel roads, why not get a big fast bike, you know? But if you're trying to do trails, you want something that's a little bit more capable, something that you can just trust to get over anything, and you know if it's going to hit the ground, you're not going to break it.
Right, and if you're going to pick it up 5 times a day,
Mm-hmm.
you want it to be 300 pounds and not 1,200 pounds.
Yeah, when I solo lifted that Ibex on the trail, I was like,
One-handed.
and that's the last time I want to lift this motorcycle up out here. I dropped it once and I was like, okay, I'm not dropping this bike again. And so I ended up just like Hulk stomping my way through a lot of stuff.
I gotta get a video of that.
Unfortunately, maybe I had my 360 camera going. I won't show my feet, but yeah, that was an experience when I made myself look like an ass in front of a bunch of guys on dual sports.
Well, did they know who you were?
I mean, I'm hard to miss. I was wearing a bright orange jersey and my hair was hanging out the back of my helmet.
Okay.
So I think they were at Get On too. I think I saw their bikes around, so they're like, "Oh, that's Spike, dude. That guy
That's
doesn't know
the
what
guy
fuck
that
he's
just
doing."
blocks the trail like that ship in the Suez Canal. They were probably like riding up behind you, full momentum. You go down and like, fuck, just had to lay her down.
I ended up having to turn around mid trail because I wasn't paying attention to the app, and so I ended up going past them the other way. So it's like, yep, I'm a dumbass.
What up, guys?
Have fun.
That sucks. Don't go up there. Or do. Just let me film it.
Mm-hmm. You do a big bike, turn around and lift with your legs. I did, and I still was like, that's the only time I'm picking that bike up.
You gotta drag it in a circle and point it downhill and then pick it up. That's the trick. At that point, you gotta just not give a shit. It's already on the ground.
Oh man, biker dad bringing the smoke. Adventure bikes are a great way to ride to Starbucks. Dual sports forever.
I mean, I did the whole Washington BDR on an adventure bike, but they can do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They can do stuff. I actually, last time I was at a Starbucks on a motorcycle was on my 450L. Because it was a great place to stop after lots of highway on that damn thing. It's not comfortable. Need some coffee and some Wi-Fi.
I had a question, but then I chased it out of my brain. Something about adventure bikes at Starbucks. I don't remember.
Starbucks is delicious and expensive.
I don't do coffee.
Oh, well, then you have no reason to go to Starbucks.
Yeah, no.
How do you stay awake? That makes no sense.
Diet Coke, baby.
Oh, well, I mean, I drink a lot of soda, but it's hard to take powdered diet soda and cook it in your jet boil in the morning.
I've got a cooler right behind. So in the van, it's got 2 seats. There's the doghouse right in front. And then right behind the seats, I got my big-ass cooler. And it's just filled with Diet Coke and water and Gatorade.
I just bought one that on Prime Day, an electric cooler that fits perfectly behind the seat of my runner.
Nice.
My overland rig, and I've got a 12-volt plug in the back too, so I can just run it off that, and I'll be able to reach behind the seat and just grab whatever. Taking it to Canada.
Have you run deep cycle batteries into it and electric in the back?
No, I just got that thing, so I haven't done much to it at all. But eventually, we'll see. I don't know how overlandy I'm gonna get. I'll definitely get like a jackery or something, and then just charge it off the rig when it's running.
Yep. I'm committed to having a van now, so I'm not sure if I'm going to do it with this van or when this van inevitably bites the dust, get the next one, and then build a full deep cycle
That's
charging system in there.
That's the dream.
Because I have a 130 amp alternator in there because my alternator went, and it was cheaper to buy the police alternator than the like normal truck alternator. So I have this big ass alternator, and I could charge some big heavy deep cycle batteries, but I don't know how long the truck's gonna last. My buddy says it'll do another 50,000 miles, so I knocked off 10 on this trip by the time I get back. No, it's
So
7.
if you get back.
Oh, don't put that bad juju on me, Ricky Bobby.
Damn, Matt, are you saying I should not have my camera on my helmet when I cross the border? Fortunately, I'm driving to Canada the first 2 times, and then when I'm riding, it'll be a little less obvious, I guess.
Having a camera will get you on a list in Canada.
Apparently, that's what he says.
I thought they were just like chill. They didn't get all worked up about stuff like that.
Well, I heard Kyle Bradshaw told an interesting story about trying to go to Canada to ride, and he had some bear spray in his bag, and they like tore his whole kit apart and like interrogated him and asked him why he didn't declare that he was bringing weapons into the country, and they ended up not letting him in. He had to go ride the Olympic Peninsula instead.
That's because he's an American.
Right.
So
they just figured he was going to go.
Yeah.
Go postal.
Kyle's such a cool dude. Love that guy.
Yep. It is a small world. You end up knowing all the same people.
I mean, that's one of the things that's kind of blown my mind about seeing the backside of the motorcycle industry. You know?
That has multiple meanings.
Yeah, sure enough. But, you see all these people, and I've seen a couple of people change companies, but doing like the same thing.
Right.
Which is kind of funny.
And then they go back to the original company.
Mm-hmm.
Or what, like it's, yeah. That's like Ryan at Giant Loop. He left for a while and then is back now doing a marketing job, which is good because he knows a lot of stuff and it's nice to have him in the fold to answer questions.
Mm-hmm. He's basically already trained up at that point.
Yeah, right. He got trained somewhere else and came back.
Every now and again, I think about like, it would be kind of cool to actually be in some of these rooms when they're talking about doing marketing strategies for these bikes. Be like, maybe I can get myself on a marketing team one day.
Well, some companies get it, some companies don't. Yamaha. Can't wear a camera when you're doing a test ride. What the hell is that?
I think that's actually pretty standard. CF Moto normally doesn't let you have a camera, and they've just recently waived it.
That's the only company I've ever run into that with.
Really?
I've done multiple demo days and demo rides with everybody but Honda because they don't ever do demo days. And only Yamaha because they say it encourages people to ride worse or something, which I don't get. On a demo ride in a group, the guy's right behind me. Like, he's going to yell at me.
Yeah. And like, if you do anything dumb, they're going to blacklist you and you won't be allowed to ride anymore.
Right. Well, and they were super uptight. They were like, don't do any of that swerving back and forth stuff to test the board. And I was like, you mean ride a motorcycle? Like, do you want me to buy this or not? Isn't that the point?
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a point at which you kind of have to do some dumb stuff to see what the bike can do. And that's one of the beauties of the CF Moto guys were like, yeah, go ride it like it's your bike. Treat it like it's your bike.
And you promptly did.
Mm-hmm. I was like, have you seen my KLR?
Yeah, it doesn't even have a windscreen. Chris, that's because you hid it in your prison wallet.
Need to make more trikes because people are old. I mean, the thing is they just have the development done on it, so there's no R&D. You know, they're expensive to build, sure, but they're also really expensive to buy, so the margins are thicker on those. It kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and the people that need them have money.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, are they milking a dying customer base? Sure, but I mean, if they have to collect a couple more social security checks to theoretically make a Bronx one day, I'm okay with that.
Ooh, that's a good question, Wizard Moto. And no, I'm no help at all.
Any advice for my first track day? Ah, okay.
Go
You're-
fast.
Your first track day, just go and leave your ego in the paddock. Don't try to do anything. Just go have fun. Don't go buy a suit. Just go rent one from your local track day organization. Don't worry about setting up your bike. Don't worry about like doing any kind of like. Don't take anything off. You don't need to do any mods. Your first track day, you're not going to drag knee. You're not going to crash. You're not even going to know where the lines are, so you're not going to be able to push yourself super hard. You're just on your first track day. What you're going to realize is your bike is so much better than you think it is. So just go have fun. And usually most track day orgs, they're going to be pretty chill. Some of them can be, usually if you get on their Facebook group or Discord group or whatever, you can get a feel for what they're like. And if they give you bad vibes, don't go to that track day with that organization, because they're gonna be even worse in person, because they're gonna get all the testosterone going. But yeah, just go and have fun. That's all it is. Go have fun, and don't buy $1,000 suit for your first time. It doesn't make any sense. I have $1,000 suit hanging up in my garage. I've ridden in it twice,
He
3
wears
times.
it when he drives the van,
Yeah, full race suit in the van.
just to be safe. He's at GAT 100% of the time. He sleeps in his pajamas.
Yeah, I would say I probably haven't gotten my use out of this race suit, but I've got it. I really want to get my hands on a CF Moto 450 SS and take it to a racetrack. That would be a lot of fun.
Am I not rocking this label out this whole time? God, what's the point of product placement if you don't hold the label out, Moto Camp Nerd?
You need to get yourself some just like media training, dude.
I know. I don't know shit. I just kind of muddle through. It's the first time I've actually gotten to use this, so I'm just stoked because he sent me a seltzer koozie because he knew apparently that eventually I would switch back to that. Whatever, Ben.
Yeah, small Joe 9000 to track day, take a small bike for practice. Yeah, they do make better practice platforms than like 1,000 or something, but just run what you brung. You're gonna have so much fun out on your first track day on your motorcycle. You're not gonna crash it, I promise. Your bike is it's that old adage of your kickstand's gonna lean harder than you are.
And that's why I took a Grom to my first track day. Because I can drag knee because I'm only 12 inches off the ground.
Yeah, you just stick your knee out and then you're basically there.
Yeah, exactly. I could just touch the ground.
Mm-hmm. If you really want to get after it, the best place to learn to go fast is Yamaha Champ School. 100%. Nobody's better.
There are people that I know and love and trust who have done that school and highly recommend it. So
Yeah, it's the single best track day experience I've ever had. And admittedly, I've had 3, 4 maybe. But in terms of like the actual learning, I did a this is how we ride kind of like intro to track riding at a local racetrack. No, it was not even close. They couldn't explain how to get online, why you need to be here, why you need to do this stuff. They didn't explain any of the theory. Champ School like makes you understand why your bike is doing what it's doing, and that's really important.
is it hard to unlearn those skills or turn them off when you're riding off road?
No, because I've done the ride ADV training, so I've got
Man, so many plugs for Tyler. He should be paying us.
But yeah, no, they kind of. It took me a while to figure it out when I was just doing it myself, and then Tyra's like, "Oh, you did so much dumb shit out there. I gotta fix all this stupid stuff.
Anyway, follow me as fast as I can go. You'll probably survive.
I was definitely having some fun trying to keep up with Tyler on a couple of routes, and I got myself into some situations where I was like, oh, fuck.
Dude, the first day, we're all wiped out after like 8 hours of riding. He's like, anybody want to hit the single track? We're all on huge bikes. And it's like him and Kyle, the other instructor, and I was like, okay. Then everyone else just left. He's like, all right, we'll hit this. Keith, take everyone else back. And just the three of us went and hit up all this. It was actually fun, and Tyler got stuck, and I didn't. But
Nice.
I was like, this is what you do to people on their first day of an 80. But that's the thing is, I want to say he keeps you in your zone of proximal development, but he just pushes you.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't, but he's always right there to get you back on your bike, pat you on the shoulder and keep you going. So,
Yep.
and it's funny, in the sandy section in Mexico, I actually picked up his bike more times than he picked mine up, but that's because he was dicking around a lot.
Yeah, I was watching him at the training because we were doing a couple of different trails in Vegas, and I ended up being behind him for most of it, and I watched him just screwing around. And I was like,
Don't follow his lines.
There were a couple of times where I saw him like go way the hell up on the side of this berm, and I was like, next time I see one, I'm gonna go up there with you. It was really nerve-wracking the first few times, and then I was like, oh, it's just kind of like normal. Okay, I get it.
Well, there's something really like encouraging, or maybe that's the wrong word, but seeing someone do something right in front of you and knowing it's possible,
Yep.
it suddenly just makes it seem like you can do it. Something you maybe would have never attempted before.
Yeah.
But you're like, well, okay. Like, that's why I love riding with people that are better than me,
Yeah.
which is basically everyone. And following them and just seeing like the lines they pick and just seeing what's even possible and having my mind expanded.
Right. Picking up a Street Triple R tomorrow and going to a track day next weekend. You're going to have so much fun on that bike, dude. That's a great option to take to the track. And you're going to realize how capable that motorcycle is. It's phenomenal.
Hell of a place to break it in.
Yeah. You're going to have some real fun with that. It might even like scare you a little bit. Be like, oh shit, this thing's really fast.
Guess what you think one another's next bike will be? Hawk 250.
I wonder how
Nailed
you do
it! Because I haven't given you the title yet.
that. Navi, maybe?
There's room for a case of beer in that little storage kit underneath.
Yeah, dude, it's a perfect little grocery getter.
Oh my god. If I lived in a city instead of at the top of a 2-mile hill.
Doesn't it make like 5 horsepower or something like that?
They're ridiculously stupid. And yet, with Navis,
Do you have a spare Rainier back there?
I might have a Rainier with your name on it. It's smart. If you are patient when I'm drinking, you never have to get your own beer.
Yeah, there we go. See, I'm just making sure that, he's the one who's doing all the walking.
I need to stab some more about the carbs.
I've been sitting down for the last, 36 hours.
Yeah, but it's not like a comfortable sitting down. 8 horsepower. Yeah, Corey has one, so he knows.
A Grom is 9, so it's actually not that bad.
Yeah, I got mine up to 62 one time going downhill in full tuck.
Should I put a clip on it? What?
Slip on.
Slip-on? No. So actually they don't have slip-ons for it. For the Street Triple, because of the way that the bread box is designed, it doesn't come off. You have to do a full system. So
Now,
unless-
if they make a clip-on exhaust, I would like to see that.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
clip-ons. No. Just leave the handlebar.
Oh,
No. Don't put clip-ons on it. If you want to get clip-ons, just find a Daytona.
Matt, it's too bad Corey can't reach the ground on that Navi.
Is a guy like 4 foot tall?
He's not very tall. His new Instagram is Small Man Moto.
Nice.
We make a lot of leprechaun jokes, but he's super good. We're going to make a Men of ADV calendar.
Mhm.
Grace has this idea. She's going to shoot it, and he wants to be March so he can dress up like a leprechaun. But guess what month I'm going to be?
I'm going to assume December.
Why?
Because you look like Santa Claus.
Exactly! Nailed it. Thanks, Big E. I'm definitely faster than I used to be. I don't know if I'm writing any smarter, but like I've said in the past, confidence is the most important skill. It'll carry you through a lot. So I definitely have more of that.
Will muff pot fit on the Navi? I still need to test the muff pot. It's only $42 on Amazon. I'm gonna buy one. See what it does.
What are you doing, Starbs? Where you been, girl? Mischief? Mayhem? Soap?
Doing stuff.
Oh, I just took a big shit in your bed. Come on. Yeah, come on. Come on. If you're gonna chill, you can come say hi to the people. There you go. But sit. Yeah. Good girl. You are not a lap dog, but you definitely... Actually, she's pretty good when she calms down. She's a decent lap dog. Hey, guys. Starbucks here. I don't know if you could tell.
Yeah. I have not... I mean, I've seen clips from them, but I haven't watched the whole videos.
Just watch part 1 of the moto camping video because I spent 4 hours doing a 35-minute ride out to my riding area so I could get all these ridiculous clips of my fat ass going by on this Grum. And then I set the whole montage to circus music.
Perfect.
Like it's a calliope. It's hilarious.
I'll go check those out.
It's the best part of the whole video.
Sit, watch those as I'm falling asleep tonight.
Yeah, my videos put people to sleep all the time. I put them on when I can't sleep.
Yeah, I've got to I've got to figure out how to stop talking in my videos. Like I'm sitting there
That's
and I'm
your
like,
job.
Jesus Christ, I will not shut the fuck up. Every video is like 30 minutes long when I do the first
Well,
pass.
you need to learn how to edit.
Not just like everything I say is just golden. It's all just nuggets of truth.
What a burden. That's why I always tell Matt when he's digging through my footage, he always finds nuggets. Some are gold and some are shit. But they're definitely nuggets.
Turn them into shorts, whether they're gold or shit.
Yeah, he keeps falling asleep. That makes sense, man. That's all you had to say. Yeah, imagine having to listen to all my stupid ramblings. Because it's like, if the more I talk, the more likely there is to be something good in there somewhere. So I try to just be verbalizing what I'm doing all the time and then get rid of most of it when I start editing, but I don't know. Matt and I have different opinions about what's funny. So there's a whole, like, me coming up with an off-road version of On the Road Again and singing it while riding on cinder roads in tomorrow's video. And I literally say, we should cut all this out. It seems pretty self-indulgent. And he's like, nope. Like it pops up on the screen. Nope, this is gold.
That's why you gotta have somebody else editing your stuff too, just because you're like, this is what I think is a good video, and then somebody else is like, nah, this is way funnier.
Yeah. Yeah, well, fresh eyes. I'm taking Spide on a BDR as soon as he's ready to go. I try to take him on one literally this weekend, but he won't go.
I got things to do, man.
He's got to get home and
I gotta
do
go
Texas stuff.
I gotta go back to Texas, otherwise my the hat and revolver the state gave me are gonna get lonely.
They're gonna rust.
That's the first thing that happens when you move to Texas is they give you a 10-gallon hat and a revolver and tell you, yeah.
They're gonna revolve your honorary Texas Ranger status. Revoke. What the hell did I say? You said revolver. Okay.
It got you that on the brain.
Yeah. A lot, Mike. A lot. Less. I mean, I was a public speaker, so I've trained myself out of that some, but I definitely have verbal tics and moments where I'm thinking, because I don't know about you, but I don't script out everything. I bullet point and then riff on it.
Depends on the video. I sometimes have scripts that are 2,100 words, and I will stick to every single one of those words.
It just doesn't sound natural when I do that. I have to be talking off the cuff to a degree, but I don't want to forget things, so I make lists.
So at my old job, I used to write 5 scripts a week. So I've learned to write exactly how I would speak. So,
Basically, I'm perfect the first time.
Not even close.
Oh, okay.
I just whenever I'm writing, I make Microsoft Word have a freaking brain aneurysm because it's like, I'm gonna do gonna with you.
There's a lot of underlines on this.
Yup. Do the fat in Florida. That's funny.
I do the fat every time I go for a ride. No, Matt, not for the videos I make you edit. I keep those for myself because there was a script, and I know what, and they're easier to edit. And also, you don't have access to my library of B-roll, so
Yeah, it's so easy to edit to a script. They're beautiful. It's like putting together a puzzle. That and working in the garage too.
he's so just stressed out all the time. This dog is just
What a
sick.
hard life, man.
I know, fucking lapdog for life. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No worries. Yeah, no, I love editing stuff in the garage because it's just timeline. You're like, maybe this clip is 10 minutes long, but there's only 30 seconds of good shit in
Right.
here.
Well, this is where I did the thing.
Yep.
Okay, cut. Next, move on.
Yep. You can knock those out really quick.
Yeah, I love single camera linear timeline. That's the shit that just flies.
And people watch the hell out of them too, which is awesome because I like doing it.
And it's easy. You can get a bunch of stuff out, and it's not terrible. Yeah, I wouldn't film if it was 110, 101 in the garage. I wouldn't even go in the garage.
That's how my garage is, man.
That sucks.
Oh yeah. I need to I just bought this house. I need to get a mini split in the garage, but before I do that, I need to insulate the roof and the walls and my garage door. Otherwise, I'm going to just spend a gazillion dollars trying to air condition a, slow cooking oven.
That's the way my buddy Duck Fan's house is. He's got it's facing south, so the garage is 1,000 degrees all day.
Mm-hmm.
Here is amazing because this is all shade, so it actually never gets hot in the garage. The garage never gets direct sunlight because it's facing north.
I mean, you're literally out here in freaking Fangorn Forest, but back in Austin, where I'm at, it's such a new community. There are no trees in it.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, the people that built this place, they built it in '71, and the forest was already here, obviously, but they planted some more trees, so we are just drowning and stuff. No, Moto Coco, it's like I said, it sold out in 12 hours, and that was in like February. So no, there are no spots left.
When do you go from recording footage to sending to friends to posting them publicly?
I never recorded footage to send to friends. I posted my very first video. It was terrible.
Yeah, I hit the ground running, so all of my humiliation was public. So I was like, whatever. If I make myself look like an asshole, I've already done it before.
What could get worse?
Yeah. The first video I ever made for for actual public consumption is still on the internet, and I will not go watch it because I'm just so horrible in the video. No energy, I didn't know when to shut up.
Gotta learn that though.
And
that's the thing. Aspiring motovloggers often ask me for advice, and I'm just like, "Are you boring?" Because if you're boring, stop it. You have to not be boring. There's a million boring people out there saying stuff. You have to find a way to be engaging on camera.
And that's just, you got to start with whatever you're passionate about, because that's something you can actually talk about.
And passionately, theoretically. First project my freshman ever did was an expert essay. Write about something you already know a lot about and like. Because, the content should be easy. We're talking about mechanics.
Yep.
Yeah, Terry, I'm going to do it in May just for you, bud. Since you'll still be here.
For the next time around?
Yeah, although it probably won't be next year because I probably can't. I need to actually go on. I always think about it like in April. Man, it'd be great to get that in May.
There's an event I have just sitting in my brain that I want to put together out in Austin. There's a 8th Mile drag strip out there that I want to rent out and do a camping weekend at the drag strip. That'd be a lot of fun.
That'd be fun.
And I don't think it would cost too much to actually do. So I just need to think about that a little bit.
And you could do ADV bike drag races.
Sure, why not? I'd run the KLR.
Well, yeah, 0-60 and 3.5 miles.
It's an 8th Mile drag race, so we'll have to see how far it can get. I mean, off the line, it'll get to 30 miles an hour.
In first gear.
Yeah, and then it won't accelerate very much.
You're making me miss my KLR. It's like a lovable idiot.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, you suck at everything, but you try so hard. And you're so cute.
I don't know. I love mine because it's as good at stuff as I am. So it's like a perfect little, golden retriever. It'll just sit there and do whatever I tell it to.
KLR, a ton of character. It just really has character. It's not like the same kind of character you think about when you talk about motorcycles having character, like in terms of engine dynamics. But it does feel like you're flying a World War I biplane. Like, it eventually will go up anything you want it to.
And then you just hear the piston slapping back and forth the whole way up and down every single time.
But you can't lug it.
It was funny. My buddy Josh was behind me, and he was like, "I can count your RPM on my freaking fingers as we're going up this hill."
2.
That's the best part, is it just won't stall. I've only stalled it like once or twice.
Yeah, it's hard. You gotta work at it.
You need to have a date long in advance for an 8th mile. I'm thinking probably in like March or April. Well, no, it's got to be end of March, because April's MotoGP if they come back to Austin. So it'll be really expensive then. But this is a Halo project, and I don't really have the funding to bankroll it yet, but we'll see. I have a Himalayan character. Himi's got some pretty decent character to it.
Styling has a lot of character. Do you feel like the Orbiter can be ridden north to south and still ride the south sections? I mean, that's what we did. That's like that's what it's made to, like, that's what they intend you to do, is ride it. Oh no, sorry, south to north. But yeah, people do it all the time. You could do it backwards.
Are they usually directional?
Yeah, they're always north. They're always south to north.
Interesting.
So and they're numbered 1 through whatever. So like when we did the Washington BDR last year, we did it backwards.
Mm-hmm.
But we wanted to be done close to home and not done at Canada and then have to ride home.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And Trav is like literally like he was an hour from the end. So yeah, you could. I don't see why you wouldn't. I mean, if I did it again north to south, I would probably do the BDRX and not do sections 1 and 2. But I've done them. If I hadn't done them, I don't know, it just depends. It was just 2 is not that bad, and it's not that long. Well, that's not true. It's 120 miles. We only did half of it, is why it didn't seem that long. 1 is just, I guess what I mean is there's like civilization along 2. 1, there just isn't. It's just, you're on the bottom of an ancient seabed. There is no help anywhere. And so just overestimate how much prepared you need to be.
That's what ended up happening with me every time I go on a trip, and then I end up with bags full of stuff, and my bike weighs 700 pounds before I get on it. And then I wonder why it's so hard.
Yeah, weird. Yeah, definitely paring down my setup and not just throwing things in because I have room.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it was a lot of, I have room and it weighs nothing. That was the running joke on my gear video last year, because I took 3 different stoves.
Just in case one broke, obviously.
It was shit planning. I was like, well, what if I want to buy a steak and cook it, but I don't have a campfire? Then don't get a steak, you asshole. So like this year, I just took the jet oil and like a couple. This is my backup plan if I don't eat in town.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need options. I need one option.
Yep.
I need to know what I'm doing, and that's so I only ended up having to eat a bag meal one time. So I'll take it. Had wheat thins for dinner one night.
There you go.
That's what they had at the store at Olali. Wheat thins and beer. Let's go. Didn't feel like eating my bag meal.
I mean, that's mostly what I'm eating in the truck right now. Because yesterday I left Denver and I was like, okay, I'm going to go to Target and just get some stuff that is shelf stable and can handle the heat. Because my air conditioner kind of works.
Yikes. That's a lot of miles with the 260 air conditioner.
I mean, it works on high only because the resistors are busted in low and medium. And then if I run it at max AC, max cold, it starts to sputter after a while. So then you have to just turn it off, let it cool down, roll the windows down, and hope that it's not terribly hot. That's why you get temperature stable food.
Yeah, I'm worried more about myself. You said you have a cooler though, so you could just dump some ice on your head every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
You're golden. I had a medic riding with me. He got heat stroke.
It's always bad when the guy who's there to put you back together is the one who goes down first.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and last year we had 2 first aid trained guys. One a former state trooper, game warden, and the other a former combat medic. And guess who broke his leg? I really need to take a backcountry first aid kit or class probably.
So that's just like stopping bleeds and putting bones back into bodies for
Yeah,
5 minutes.
A lot of tourniquets and splints, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the real, like, don't pull out the stick or you'll bleed to death stuff.
Right.
You know.
I mean, that seems like a skill worth knowing if you're going to really actually go out there and be in it.
I mean, I hope I'd never have to use it, but imagine being able to use it once.
Yeah.
It would be worth it if you were able to save yourself or somebody else.
Yeah, it keeps somebody from having a real bad day. Or they have a bad day and it could be worse. Because it's never just a flesh wound, is it?
No. Good question, Kevin. I think it's because they're really expensive. That's my guess. And for the money, you start considering other alternatives that exist. I actually tried to buy one and couldn't get one. So otherwise I would have bought one before I bought the Norton.
I also reckon that I don't feel like Triumph gives them out as like review bikes.
Occasionally, like Brett Tax got one, but yeah, I don't see people with them often.
Mm-hmm. Didn't some guy get airlifted on that ride you got hurt on with Josh on day 3? Day 2, actually, in Moab. He broke both bones in his arm, and they were both sticking out. And Josh had to wrap him up. He actually got to keep his arm, so that was cool.
Josh got to keep the guy's arm? Jesus.
No, the guy whose arm broke, they put it back together.
Oh, okay. Doodle bought hers, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so she has one. And yeah, Brett Tax had a demo. GS is a different thing, though. GS is a GS. It is it's its own thing.
BMW doesn't market them because it's just all they have to do is say GS and then it's game over.
Yeah, they're like David Pumpkins. They are their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice, Moist Oregon. Good to know. Also, saying your name makes me chuckle every time.
Apparently, Brett sold it after a few months.
But he had a demo. Did he buy one?
Doodle has the GT. That makes sense. She does a lot of touring.
Mm-hmm.
I've never really gelled with Triumphs. I just don't love the triple.
Oh, that's right. Tim bought one too. He sold his KLR after like a week. You don't like the triple, but you like the street triple.
Because it's like a really good sport bike engine. It really likes to scream. And the best thing I can say about Triumphs is they have basically perfect fueling. Right out of the gate, the throttle feel is about as good as you can get, at least with their sport bikes, and the Bonnies too. I never really gel with the triples too much. It's not my favorite power plant. I like V-twins a lot. V-twins are my thing.
Classic.
Mm-hmm. That's why I have a Ducati, because I also hate my wallet.
It's like driving a Renaissance painting.
And the thing is so I went, I bought it used at a dealership in Austin, and it wasn't the Ducati dealership. And then I end up in the Ducati dealership because I need the oil change kit, and they just have it there. And of course, because it's, manufactured in Italy and dusted with, biscotti and espresso flakes to make sure it's
That's why it's
just
so
right. It was like $200 for the kit or something ridiculous. I ordered heated grips and I never heard back from them, so I actually have to talk to them and be like, do I have those heated grips yet? I ordered them in March. But I went in there to talk to the guy, And he's like, "Oh, what bike do you have?" And I was like, "I have the Hyperstrada 821." The first thing that he does is visibly recoil and grimace, like, ugh.
That's always a
The
good
guy
sign.
at the Ducati
The
dealership.
Ducati guy thinks it's not a good one.
Yeah, he just goes, "Oh, I hope you got it cheap." And he's like, "They don't resell very well." And I was like, "Of course not. It's a Ducati. None of them resell very well." Ride-by-wire or analog? What about you? What do you prefer?
I don't think I know the difference. I mean, I know the difference, but I don't think I've. Ride-by-wire has some advantages electronically that you can't get with a cable, but I don't know. Not a mechanic.
Personally, I prefer cable because it's just more direct. But ride-by-wire is really nice because you can get stuff like cruise control and different rider modes. Used to be you didn't need it all because bikes weren't fast enough to require a bunch of safety shit. And I know that was all before my time because I started riding in 2016, 17, something like that. So rider modes were already a thing by the time I got started, but I prefer bikes from the mid 2000s when they just weren't so fast that you needed technology to make them rideable. That's why I have the 919 now. That and because the guy was generous enough to just give it to me.
That's pretty generous.
Yeah.
Mark, are you local? I'm going to be selling one soon if I ever get the time to actually review the damn thing. It's only got, what's it up to? I think I just did the brake-in oil change, so maybe 800 miles because my brother never rode it. I did 600 of those miles are me.
So he bought the cheapo Amazon bike, and then he bought a CB500X, and you're selling both of them for him.
Well, I bought the 500X from him so we could get out of it.
Gotcha.
Because he owed money, and it's so hard to sell a bike that you owe money on and be like, well, I'll give you the title eventually. At least around here, I've had no luck. So I bought it so I could dick around with it for a while and then sell it.
Yeah, you can't. That shit don't fly in Texas either. If you don't have the paperwork, it's not your bike.
Yeah, but he got into riding and then didn't really ride that much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the crashing on his first time out didn't help.
That'll do it to you.
No.
6 months into riding. Memorial Day 2017, 11:30 a.m. I got hit by a drunk driver. Yep. Went over the handlebars into oncoming traffic. Bike total loss. Guy went to jail.
Wow.
He's out on well, he only got 2 years, so he's been out for a while. But yeah, that was a really interesting experience 6 months into riding. Then I got another bike 6 months later.
Mark, Medford's only 3 hours from here. Just saying.
It's the beauty of being like in a state that's not the size of Alaska. Is
Yeah.
you don't have to go 8 hours to get somewhere.
It's crazy to like when I drove to Mojave
Mm-hmm.
because I'm out of Oregon in 3.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Done. No more Oregon.
Yep.
It's a 19-hour drive.
And then it's
Like,
all California.
It's all California. It just never ends.
Mm-hmm.
It just never ends.
You're just going straight south.
It is like such a long state. And I did that drive twice because I went back down 3 weeks later I went to Big Bear for the Alpine Stars thing. This I went over like Tahoe instead just to get some different scenery and see the other side of the Sierras. That was a fun drive. I would go that way again.
You just need a van to sleep out of so you don't have to do it twice. You just park in a parking lot.
Well, it was like 3 weeks and I have like this whole family. And I was originally going to go to Mojave and then go do the ride, the Southwest tour,
Mm-hmm.
and then just kill like 3 or 4 days in Vegas and then come back to the Alpine Stars thing. But since the Southwest tour kind of fell through because not enough people signed up, I just came home. Which is good because I got caught up on a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I've got... that's the world I'm in right now. I've got so many videos kicking around where if I let them sit for too much longer, I'm going to forget which videos I've got in the pipe, and then I got to pump them out.
That's why there's a whiteboard in my office. More than once I've been like, oh shit, I never edited that one. I hope I didn't delete the footage.
Oh, dude, that happened to me. So I went to Mojave with the Harley guys, and I was filming an interview with Kyle Wick, the lead engineer for the RevMax platform, which the footage was great. The interview was great. And then I had some riding footage to spice it up a little bit. All of my riding footage got lost. All of it. So my 360 footage, my GoPro footage is just all lost to the ether. And then I got down to edit it, and I was like, why do I only have Road Glide footage? Road Glide is not an adventure bike. And it sucks, too, because I had, Justin from Harley put together a great ride for us. We were doing just this beautiful stuff. The flowers were in bloom, and I lost all the footage. But I managed to save the video because I kept the actual fancy camera footage on a different card.
SoCal BDR, I've heard, is the worst one. So, though I don't hate sand as much, Wanders, but I'm probably not going to do that one.
Is it just all sand, or is it just...
Yeah, Tyler said it's one of the worst experiences he ever had was taking a group through there.
Damn.
But they were all not experienced enough. I hope nobody's watching. If you're watching, it was a different group. It wasn't your group. But he said he spent just hours picking up bikes in the desert. But on big bikes, I guess maybe on the 450, it might be doable. I would that's definitely a dual sport route.
Do something before I leave Oregon. I really want to, but I have to get back to Texas. Because he texted me this morning. He was like, "You want to spend the night here?" And I was like, "Sure, if I'm not imposing." Because I was literally planning on just throwing the Hawk 250 in the back and then just start driving south. We literally put all this together this morning.
Yeah, I just thought you might want to take a shower and sleep somewhere with air conditioning. Been on the road myself a few times. That's always nice to have a break.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
All right, well, I think we should probably call it in the next 10 minutes or so. So what last minute questions do you have for Jake before he goes all the way back to Texas? It's going to be a while before you see the two of us in the same place again, I'm guessing. Sooner than you think, but it's a lot of distance.
I'm sure we'll come up with something.
It's half the country or something. I don't know, something like that.
Ooh, that's a good question. How much do y'all have invested in your filming gear?
I bet you've invested more than me because you know photography.
So GoPro gear $500. Camera gear $4,000.